Chapter 509. Following the successful birth of the first child, another 2 children were born 10 days later. Both the mother and child were safe and sound. This made the local people more confident. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan saw that there was nothing wrong with the child in the first family, they were relieved. The 2 of them then brought Li Sun and a group of people up the mountain. The training could not be stopped. This was also the last time the 2 of them brought the seedling protection team up the mountain. They were waiting to teach them the general theory this time. In the future, they would let them come over to strengthen their training. In order to let them learn more, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan decided to find some good hunters in the mountains. When the time came, they would let them learn from the hunters. After the 2 of them left, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan suddenly became less lively. Even the 3 dogs were taken away by the 2 of them. Life went on. Zhang Zhong didn't spend every day with the Jiang Wang clan. After the first 3 months of Jiang Wang clan's pregnancy, she had basically stabilized. After all, she had already given birth once. Her mood was very good. Zhang Zhong put most of his energy into the construction of this place. Although there were 15,000 people here, because the place was big, many of the basic constructions had to be done continuously. Especially with the addition of cement, some places that were prone to danger were reinforced with cement. Every day, the thing that made Zhang Zhong the happiest was when he passed by the place where Chao Hui and the other 2 were. They were now almost done with the dung, but they still couldn't get rid of the hard work. Zhang Zhong didn't know what Chao Hui and the others were planning, but he knew that they definitely didn't have good intentions. Since this was the case, then it was impossible to hand over important matters to the 3 of them. Even if the 3 of them were very experienced in handling many things. Zhang Zhong didn't know what Chao Hui and the others were thinking. Chao Hui and the other 2 now realized that they were cheated by Zhang Zhong. Until now, none of them had done what they said at the beginning. To be precise, he changed the way he said it. The 3 of them began to suffer here. Should we talk to Zhang Zhong properly? If it really doesn't work, I'll quit and continue to do my own things. Jiang Huanshi really couldn't stand her current job. She just had to get water from the ground. This job seemed simple. She just had to take a shovel and see where the water was needed. Then she would put some water in. However, when it was done, she realized that it was very difficult. Although this place was hot, the water was cold, and they had to stand in the water often. They had never done this kind of work before. After a day of work, when they slept at night, they felt cold in their stomachs. He suspected that if they worked in this place for a long time, they wouldn't even be able to walk in the future. Fortunately, there was some warm wine for them to drink every day, which allowed them to be a little better. When they returned home at night, they drank as much as they could. The next day, they came out in a daze and continued to work. Therefore, he felt that since this was the case, he might as well quit. In any case, through this method, he couldn't get Zhang Zhong to hand over important things to him and the others. Chao Hui shook his head. He had a different idea. He looked at the 2 of them and said, I think we should continue to work. Since others can endure, we can also persevere. Although what we are doing now is not good, there is a benefit to us doing it, and that is to let Zhang Zhong vent more of his anger. Since the day Zhang Zhong came here, he has always been at odds with us. Unfortunately, our abilities are not as good as his, and we have always been suppressed by him. Yes, saying that we are suppressed is a little flattering. In this way, we were always unconvinced in the past, so Zhang Zhong wanted to make our lives difficult. At this time we are no longer judges. We have lost our identities, and the work we are doing is the most difficult and tiring. In the future, we have to complain more and let Zhang Zhong gradually forget the 3 of us. When he suddenly remembers, he will feel that it is meaningless to always be at odds with us. After all, we are too weak. This time may take a little longer, but it won't be too long. After working for 2 or 3 months, if Zhang Zhong still doesn't let us go, we will pretend that we have fainted while working. As long as we achieve his goal of not paying attention to us, it will be worth it. Don't tell me that we can't endure for 2 or 3 months. When Fan Jianqi and Jiang Huanshi heard Chao Hui's words, they nodded at the same time. This idea was really good. They could make Zhang Zhong lower his guard and let Zhang Zhong look down on them. When the time came, they would see how Zhang Zhong treated them. Perhaps then, it would be their chance. The three of them reached an agreement on this matter. In truth, they did not need to use this method. Zhang Zhong would not pay attention to them now. Zhang Zhong did not have the time and energy to pay attention to them. In the future, other people would take care of things. Zhang Zhong would be busy with his own matters. The three of them could not wait for Zhang Zhong to change his mind about them. Recently, more commoners from the surrounding provinces had arrived. All of them yearned for a better life in Luzhou. Most of them were mountain tribesmen. Their lives in the mountains were not easy now. The main reason was that there was a stark contrast to the lives of the commoners in Luzhou. Also, many mountain tribesmen here could communicate with the local commoners. If Zhang Zhong did not come here, and if they did not encounter a great disaster, it would have taken a long time for the mountain tribesmen to live a good life with the commoners. However, because of so many coincidences, a unique phenomenon of unity was formed here. One after another, the mountain tribesmen came down from the mountains. They directly asked the people in their clans or tribes who could speak the language here to look for Zhang Zhong and ask about the work and living conditions. When Zhang Zhong discovered this situation, he was very happy. He would stay at a fixed place for a period of time every day. With this, the mountain tribesmen would have a fixed place to look for Zhang Zhong. Now that they had recognized Zhang Zhong, they came down from the mountain and waited in a bush beside the place where Zhang Zhong would go every day. Even if Zhang Zhong's men were here, they would not reveal themselves. They would not come over and talk to these people. Only when Zhang Zhong arrived would they send someone to discuss with Zhang Zhong and make a request. In truth, their request was very simple. They wanted to see if Zhang Zhong could follow the notice and the mountain tribesmen's instructions. Every time the mountain tribesmen came down from the mountain and received Zhang Zhong's acknowledgement, they would be very happy. They would follow Zhang Zhong to the houses that had been built and settle down for the work that was about to be done. Through Zhang Zhong's observation over the past few days, he discovered that the mountain people were more proactive in their work than the local people. There was no need for too many incentives as they would take the initiative to ask for work. Zhang Zhong found the translator who had taken in as his godson. After asking a few questions, he finally understood the reason. It turned out that when the mountain people lived in the mountains, they basically had to work nonstop every day. Otherwise, they would not be able to feed the tribe or the people in the tribe. Their status in the tribe or the tribe depended on how much work each person could do. The person with the highest status was the strongest in the tribe, and at the same time, he had to have some experience. Next was the person who could communicate with the people at the foot of the mountain. After that was the person who did the most work. This work actually referred to hunting. They did not know how to farm. After all, the mountain tribesmen were still unable to master terrace fields. As for things like firewood, it was not done by the men. It was done by the women. There were also some women who had a very high status in the mountains. They had a lot of children. First, it was because more children could make the tribe stronger. Second, with so many children, especially boys, when they grew up, they would be a force to be reckoned with. Who would dare to bully their mothers? After learning about this situation, Zhang Zhong agreed to the mountain tribesmen who had just settled down and were about to throw themselves into work immediately. He arranged some work for them to do. Half a month later, more than 600 people from other provinces came one after another. The mountain tribesmen were much more than the local people who came over. There were nearly 3,000 of them. In addition to the original 36,000 people, there were a total of 40,000 people. This was a large population. The mountain tribesmen who came later were not familiar with farming. Zhang Zhong thought about it and did not immediately let these mountain tribesmen be responsible for farming. The latter was to grow food. Instead, he let them go to the mountains to hunt or collect some wild fruits and other things. In this way, the people who were originally doing such work were liberated to farm. Those wild fruits were to be brewed into wine, or dried fruits to be sold. The same was true for the things that were hunted. These were considered to be mountain treasures and would be sent to the restaurant. This was also arranged by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The two of them had invested a lot of money in Luzhou. They could not let this go on forever. It was time for them to come up with some capital. Otherwise, it would affect the development of the local area. The local people would not be able to adapt to the life after they left. In fact, the people were also aware of this. Although they thought that the family of a good official was not short of money, it did not matter whether the official was short of money or not. What was important was that they could not take the benefits for free. They were all people with hands and feet. They could not let an official support them. This was the backbone of the simple and honest people. It made Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan change their minds from being surprised at the beginning to what happened later. This was much better than the people in their time. At that time, many people did not work at all. With the development of the country, the welfare had improved a lot. Some people who were clearly rich also took advantage of various means. Compared with the people here, it formed a sharp contrast. The Tang governor of Qin province had been thinking of ways to deal with Zhang Zhong, but now he really could not free up his hands. The population was too small, and there was too much land to cultivate. In order to maintain the position of the provincial governor, he had to arrange some people in his family to work on the land. Not only did the people in his family do so, even the local soldiers had put down their weapons and picked up farming tools. As for whether this matter could be impeached or not, he did not care. As long as there was no problem with the planting of food, he was not afraid of being impeached for using private military forces to cultivate the land. Food was the most important thing. Master, at this rate, it seems that all the land here will be planted this year. We don't have to worry about the blame from the higher-ups anymore. The steward looked very happy when he saw that all kinds of crops were planted in the land. He said to the Tang governor of Ning. The Tang governor of Ning also heaved a sigh of relief. These days, he had been running around every day to take a look. He really took this matter to heart. After a few more days, when all the crops were planted, he would be able to free up his hands to scheme against Zhang Zhong. Good, the fleet should have set off again, right? This time, don't enter that bay. Just go ashore in Lianzhou. At most, it will be a little more troublesome to transport. Zhang Zhong, I will definitely take revenge for this. The Tang governor of Ning urged his horse to continue moving as he said to the steward. He looked at Lu Zhou and gritted his teeth as he squeezed out the words of revenge from his mouth. The steward nodded and said, Master is right. We can't go to Zhang Zhong's place. After 2 months, when our fleet arrives, we will have a lot of things that can be sold for more money. Think of a way to discuss with the surrounding provinces, and ask them not to buy the goods shipped from Zhang Zhong's place. Let's see how much money Zhang Zhong can make here. After all, Master has been here longer than Zhang Zhong. The foundation of our Ning family is here, and we are familiar with the people around here. Zhang Zhong is a newcomer, so he can't compare to Master at all. The steward was also secretly resentful. Last time, on the 2 ships that came here, one of them was a relative of his. However, when that relative tried to stop them, he was punched a few times. No one thought much of this matter. After all, it was just a servant. If he was punched, then so be it. Who would take it seriously? However, for the steward, he couldn't swallow this. That relative's sister stayed on his bed all day long. When she saw her younger brother, she naturally couldn't stand it. When she saw that her younger brother was punched, as his sister, she naturally couldn't stand it. When she had nothing to do, she would first serve the steward well, and then start whispering to him. In order to make himself look more like a man, the steward agreed to a lot of things, hoping that this woman could serve him more comfortably. Tang. Governor Ning also knew about the steward's matter, but he didn't say much. In fact, he couldn't do anything about it at all. The Ning family was such a big family, and there were many similar things happening. Although he was now the governor of a province and the current patriarch, if something really happened, he couldn't just let it go. There were many people who could restrict him. This time they got a few big ships from the Yellow River. 4 of them had been loaded and should have been out for nearly a month. In another 2 months, they believed that as long as those people worked hard to row the ships, they would be able to reach their destination. These ships were not bought from the Yellow River Shipping Company. There were no ships there anymore. They were hired from Kaifeng. Moreover, the ships that came here were not only the 4 ships of his family. There were also ships from other people who also saw the business opportunity here. These ships formed a large fleet and were heading here. Tang. Governor Ning hoped that they could reach their destination soon. He had already planned for this. In fact, if he continued to travel along the coast, he would be able to harvest more local products. However, he planned to lure those people to Luzhou. His own ship went ashore in Lianzhou. Then he arranged for people to board these people's ships and enter the bay under the banner of the Ning family of Qinzhou. In this way, as long as Luzhou's dock collected money and intercepted the goods, Zhang Zhong would be able to provoke people he should not provoke. Perhaps Zhang Zhong would not be afraid of one person, but when these people gathered together, they would constantly cause trouble for Zhang Zhong. If Zhang Zhong fought back, he would have more enemies. If he backed down, he would continue to find more people. When the time came, what would Zhang Zhong do? If he continued to back down, the business here would eventually be taken over by others. Zhang Zhong had worked so hard for so long, and his family had also taken out money. In the end, he might lose everything. This could be considered as revenge on Zhang Zhong. Thinking about these things, Tang, Governor Ning could not help but laugh. The steward next to him was puzzled. I've already thought about it. Since we can't get the tea leaves and the cement recipe directly, we'll let others get it. It doesn't matter if we don't have the recipe, as long as Zhang Zhong can't keep the recipe. I've written to them, but they still don't believe me. Didn't they see the cement in the capital? Well, let them come over and see the things here with their own eyes, especially the dock and the cement road. I don't believe that they won't be tempted. When they come, we'll let them drink the tea we bought from other merchants at a high price. Didn't they say that only the tea from the capital could produce such an effect? When they taste the tea here, what do you think they will do? Tang, Governor Ning explained to the confused steward. Then he asked the steward. The steward immediately said, then they will know that it's not about the tea leaves, but about the method. As long as there is a method, no matter where the tea leaves are, they can make the same effect. Even the taste of the tea from different places has its own merits. In this way, they will want to get the recipe and the cement recipe. If it's just one recipe, they may feel that it's a little difficult and give up. But it's different with two recipes. They will definitely say one recipe first. If Zhang Zhong doesn't agree, they will say another one. This way, they will have two recipes to choose from. If Zhang Zhong doesn't agree with both, it will be too disrespectful. Those people are not powerful, but they are a group of people, and there are many people behind them. In this way, they will keep talking bad about Zhang Zhong. Naturally, the people behind those people will find ways to deal with Zhang Zhong. No matter how powerful Zhang Zhong is, he won't dare to go against so many people, right? Just thinking about it makes me happy. Master, you are the best. I didn't think of this method. This is called killing with a borrowed knife. When the time comes, Zhang Zhong won't have time to care about us. We can find a way to mess with Luzhou and make Zhang Zhong suffer more losses. The two of them had a common topic, and it was a very relaxed topic. At least, it could make their mood better. Then they began to talk about this topic. It seemed that Zhang Zhong would be in trouble soon. And then Zhang Zhong would be beaten until he couldn't fight back at all. Zhang Zhong made some simple arrangements. Then he began to talk to the steward next to him about the next fleet. In fact, the Zhang family's ship had only left half a month ago. However, after the ship was replaced with the propellers made by the Ministry of Works, its speed was faster than before. In addition, they only needed to go to Zhujiang and Hangzhou to resupply once. They did not stop on the way, so they would arrive at Zhujiang and Hangzhou in slightly more than a month. This time, the goods they brought were not the daily necessities for the people of Luzhou. Instead, they were middle-grade goods that could be sold at a high price. They did not ship high-grade goods. Those high-grade goods were not popular. At the very least, before the people could accept them, the Zhang family would not ship them. The middle-grade goods were sold to the merchants who cooperated with them. If they were willing to keep them for their own use, they would keep them for themselves. If they felt that they could sell them at a higher price, they could buy more. They would not set a price right away. They had to let the merchants explore on their own. The Zhang family wanted to see the effect of the goods. After they knew the approximate price of the goods, they could set a price for the merchants. This could not be helped. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were not real gods. Even if Zhang Xiaobao was very sensitive to business matters, he still needed to do market research. They did not have that many people. Moreover, The market here was special. It was not easy to do market research. They could only let the merchants explore the market and see how far the merchants could go. Then they could adjust the price according to the results. When the fleet arrives, we will see some seedlings that have grown. The Ning family hasn't given up yet. They have gathered a lot of people and want to do business with us. However, is it that easy to do business here? Perhaps we can let them continue to go to places that we haven't been to before. Zhang Zhong stood on the ridge with his hands behind his back. He looked at the commoners working hard in the fields and said to the steward who was in charge of this place. The steward was not in charge of many things these days. The commoners did not need him to manage them at all. They all consciously worked hard in the fields. What the steward needed to do was organize the people to cook. At the same time, he had to see if there was anyone in the fields who was still stubbornly refusing to rest. If that was the case, he would ask someone to pull them out to rest. The fields could be planted a little slower, but the people could not be harmed. People were the most important. After hearing the master's words, he nodded and said, "Master, they are here. What if there is a conflict? The Ning family must be up to no good. We don't need to worry about that. When the time comes, let Xiao Bao and Cuckoo handle it. They should be back in a few days. I believe that Xiao Bao and Cuckoo can handle the business well." Chapter 510. It didn't take more than a month. After another half a month, Zhang Xiaobao, Wang Wan, and Li Sun returned. After returning, Li Sun looked at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan in a different light. He began to come to find Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan every day to train with them. No one knew why, because only the three of them came back. The others stayed on the mountain and said that they would come back in half a month. The ones in charge of protecting the three of them were the commoners who worked there. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan usually had a lot of secrets, so the family didn't ask too much. Li Sun didn't have anyone ask him anything. It wasn't until the third day that Old Man Pai felt that something was wrong. That was why he went to find Li Sun at night. When Old Man Pai came, he had already sent a letter to the prince. The prince asked the Old Man Pai to take care of his son. "Li Sun, what happened to you on the mountain? What made you come back and train all day?" Old Man Pai didn't come alone. Zhang Jiuling's steward, Old Man Chang, also came. At this time, Old Man Pai acted like an elder and asked Li Sun. Hearing Old Man Pai's question, Li Sun shivered. After taking a few deep breaths, he shook his head. "It's nothing. It's just that it's a bit cold on the mountain. Training more can strengthen my body. Then when I write to the prince, I'll say the same thing. Since it's cold here, the prince might ask you to come back." Old Man Pai narrowed his eyes and looked at Li Sun. Li Sun was afraid of this. He nodded awkwardly and said, "It's nothing. When we were in the mountain, we encountered a pack of wolves. Don't they say that wolves only exist in the grasslands? Unexpectedly, there are also wolves in the mountain. It's a big pack with more than 30 wolves. Others say that small packs have less than 10 wolves." "Oh, so you encountered a pack of wolves. Was it because you saw the guards shoot the wolves and got hit by the smell of blood?" Old Man Zhang asked with concern. If that was the case, he would need to rest for a while. It would be best if he drank more wine these days and put a pair of scissors under his pillow when he slept. That way, he would be able to recover. Li Sun shook his head and revealed a bitter smile. He looked at Old Man Pai and then at Old Man Chang and said, "I didn't bring a crossbow, so how could I shoot them? I was scared by the smell of blood when the wolves wanted to eat me." "The wolves wanted to eat you? Are you in danger?" Old Man Pai asked with concern. Then he thought for a bit and asked, "What about Xiao Bao and Cuckoo? How are they?" "Ah, it seems like they are fine. You guys are still alive and kicking. Tell me what happened." "What happened? We encountered wolves. At that time, we didn't have that many people with us. There were only 33 people. If you include me, Xiao Bao, and Cuckoo, there were 31 wolves. Each of the guards just happened to rush over and fight one wolf. At that time, we only had one knife in our hands, so we couldn't kill the wolf in one go. The remaining wolf used its companions as cover and came over to eat the three of us. The other guards didn't have time to stop it. Seeing that the wolf was about to eat me, I was so scared that I sat on the ground. When Li Sun thought about what happened at that time, he felt a burst of fear. He didn't understand why so many wolves gathered together. Fortunately, the guards cooperated and rushed over. After all, at that time, they were too scattered and didn't have enough time to form a protective circle. Old Man Pai and Old Man Chang didn't understand. Why were the numbers so neat? Also, why did the guards have to deal with one wolf each? It really didn't make sense. Then what happened after that? How did you kill the wolf? Don't tell me that the wolf became obedient when it saw you, little prince. Old Man Pai didn't understand, but he was still a bit curious about how Li Sun got out of danger. At this time, without waiting for Li Sun to speak, Old Man Chang next to him opened his mouth. Was it Xiao Bao and Cuckoo who killed it? And it was very clean? You couldn't stand it, so you kept training when you came back? Yes, it was the two of them. At that time, the wolf rushed over. And I was so scared that I sat down. I don't know how Xiao Bao and Cuckoo did it, but after the two of them moved, the wolf jumped between the two of them and landed on the ground. It immediately cried out in a low voice, but it didn't stand up to bite me anymore. As Li Sun spoke, he used his hands to gesture. Old Man Pai and Old Man Chang were even more confused. Li Sun's gestures made it impossible for them to understand the situation at that time. Seeing that the two of them didn't understand, Li Sun began to explain the position of each person. After explaining and gesturing, Old Man Chang and Old Man Pai finally understood. Those wolves should have been divided into 3 groups. Perhaps they saw that there were too many people, so they joined forces to attack together. If that was the case, they would need the arrangement of 3 alpha wolves. They would be divided into 3 groups and slowly encircled from the surroundings. As a result, they were discovered by Zhang Xiaobao in an instant. At that time, Zhang Xiaobao estimated the number of wolves. In order to prevent the wolves from forming a battle strategy, he sent people to take the initiative to attack. Each person faced 1 wolf. Even if the 3 groups of wolves gathered together, they were still self-contained. When the guards rushed to surround and attack, each person was responsible for 1 wolf. Li Sun's people were a little careless, and as a result, a wolf rushed out. The wolf wasn't stupid. It knew to pick the small ones to bite, so it targeted Li Sun and the others. Li Sun was frightened. He didn't even look at the battle situation around him. He knew that a wolf wanted to eat the 3 of them. In the end, when the wolf saw him fall to the ground, it looked at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. It wanted to rush over and get rid of Li Sun first. After all, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were not lethal in the wolf's eyes. At that time, the wolf wanted to directly jump over the 2 people's heads. In the end, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan took a few steps back when the wolf jumped, and then the 2 people's bodies crossed each other. When they separated again, the wolf passed through the middle. In the end, it fell to the ground and couldn't get up. Li Sun didn't know when Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan attacked. However, Old Man Chang knew that if it weren't for the 2 children protecting Li Sun, they wouldn't have used the sleeve arrows. It must be that when they crossed each other, the wolf couldn't see through them, so they used the sleeve arrows to hit the wolf's abdomen. That was where the wolf was the most afraid of being hit, not to mention the 2 poison sleeve arrows. After it passed through, it naturally fell to the ground and couldn't get up. Oh, you realize that you're a coward and you need 2 younger people to save you. You feel uncomfortable, so you want to train more. It's useless. You can't train like this. The next time you meet them, you'll sit on the ground. Even if you don't sit on the ground, you won't know what to do. After listening to Old Man Chang's analysis, Old Man Pai understood. It turned out that Li Sun felt embarrassed and needed 2 younger people to protect him. Why? Li Sun didn't understand and asked. That was indeed the case. After that, he always looked unhappy. Because you haven't experienced that kind of killing, Old Man Chang said with certainty. But did Xiao Bao and Cuckoo experience it? Li Sun asked, unconvinced. I don't know about that either, but I do know that when the 2 of them were attacking, they had a suicidal attitude. If you weren't there, and they were given a knife each, they wouldn't have used the sleeve arrow, and would have slowly ground the wolf to death. Don't be fooled by the wolf's speed. Xiao Bao and Cuckoo's reactions weren't slow at all. After what you said, we know that when Xiao Bao and Cuckoo attacked, they were steady, accurate, and ruthless. That wolf also underestimated its opponent. Any person or animal that underestimates their opponent will easily pay the price of their life. I underestimated my opponent that day, and as a result, I was forced to retreat by the two of them. Don't be fooled by their usual appearance of being obedient children. When they really fight, with their ruthlessness and weapons, many people will suffer a hidden loss. As for why the two of them became like that when they were fighting, I don't know. You can ask them, I believe they will know the answer. When Old Man Chang talked about Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, he thought of the battle a few months ago. When the two of them fought, their whole bodies changed, especially their eyes. It was as if they had experienced some kind of cruel battle, persistent and confident. I know. It must have been taught by their family's master. I'm going to ask them how exactly they trained. Li Sun didn't feel bad anymore. After all, there was an expert in their family. He didn't receive any instruction from an expert, so it wasn't a big deal that he couldn't compare to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. After saying this, Li Sun ran. He had to find Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan quickly and ask them how they trained to become like that. Seeing Li Sun run out of the door, Old Man Chang and Old Man Pai didn't stop him. The two of them looked at each other and shook their heads at the same time. Sigh. I don't know why Xiaobao and Cuckoo learned those skills. Look at Xiaobao. He's going to be an official in the future, not a general. He even learned this. And Cuckoo, a girl, isn't willing to be outdone. I really don't know what the two of them will be like in the future. Old Man Pai didn't know that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had learned how to fight. If he didn't hear Li Sun say it today and have Old Man Chang prove it, he wouldn't have thought about it. Old Man Chang's thoughts were different from Old Man Pai's. After hearing Old Man Pai's words, he retorted, "It's not good to learn more skills. This time, if it weren't for the two kids' skills, at least one of the three of them would have been bitten to death. Even if they didn't die, they would have been seriously injured. Like Zhang Zhong and Wang family. Zhang Zhong offended a lot of people. Who knows if there will be people who can't deal with others, and will specifically target the Zhang family. Right now, I really want someone like that to deal with Xiaobao and Cuckoo. When they make a move, they will know what they are going to face. Are they really that good? Don't tell me that you think it's embarrassing to be forced to retreat by two kids? You're probably exaggerating, right? Old Man Pai still couldn't believe it. You're just a civil official. You won't understand even if I explain it to you. The two kids aren't powerful because of their bodies, but because of their awareness during battle. You won't be able to tell from their eyes which part of your body they want to attack. You'll only be able to react when the attack comes out. But it's already too late. It's impossible to prepare in advance. You can only rely on your reaction speed. But the two kids' reaction speed isn't slow either. For others, being short is a disadvantage, but for the two of them, they can take advantage of it. They are very flexible. Also, they have weapons on them, so their weapons are coated with poison. So what if they are kids? No matter how old a person is, they will be unlucky if they come into contact with poisonous weapons. Who would have thought that the two kids not only have quick reactions, but also have weapons like sleeve arrows? Would normal people let kids play with those things? The most important thing is that the two of them can do anything to achieve their goals. When Zhang Xiaobao attacked, in order to make others unable to judge, he actually used moves that hurt his own body. He can even dislocate his joints so that his opponent can't predict it. Old Man Chang recalled that day's battle and felt a little cold. It wasn't because of the danger that day, but because Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's state during the battle. It was simply too scary. If it was only one person, it would be too easy to deal with them. No matter how much training the kids had, they would be knocked down with one kick. But as long as the two of them were together, it wasn't as simple as two kids added together. They had to be treated as powerful adults. That kind of tacit cooperation made people feel envious and moved. Old Man Pai listened to Old Man Chang, but he still didn't understand how powerful Xiaobao and Cuckoo were. Anyway, he knew that the two kids always had weapons on them. If a normal person wanted to scheme against them, they would easily fall into their trap. At least Old Man Chang, who used to be an imperial guard, was forced to retreat by the two kids, and it was under the condition that the two kids didn't use sleeve arrows. Forget it, don't care about the two of them. It's fine as long as they don't delay their studies. Old Man Pai didn't want to spend too much energy on this kind of thing. Anyway, it was fine as long as he knew how powerful the two kids were. At least he didn't have to worry. Otherwise, with the two kids running around everywhere, it would be easy for people to catch them. If they started with the two of them, the loss wouldn't be as simple as the loss of the two kids. He might not be able to teach anyone until the day he died, because he couldn't find kids like Xiao Bao and Cuckoo. They were smart, hardworking, sensible, and filial. If something really happened to the two kids one day, it wouldn't be just a few people who would be sad. Everyone who saw the two kids would like them. The two of them chatted for a while, then ran to play billiards. Old Man Pai had practiced quite well, especially in terms of calculation. He was better than Old Man Chong, but he couldn't control his body as well as Old Man Chong. Although Old Man Chong looked like he was going to die at any time, when it came to playing billiards, his methods were amazing. After Li Sun left Old Man Chong and Old Man Pai's house, he ran to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's house. The two of them were mixing things in the yard, which was to make glass. They already knew the materials used, but it was just a matter of proportion. Otherwise, the glass would either not be transparent or would break easily. If that was the case, then it wouldn't be able to be used to make things. The two of them still hadn't finished making the diving balls. The difficulty was too high, so they had to give up. They could only let people dive more than 100 meters deep. They only needed to dive 10 meters or so. If that was the case, it would be harmful to their eyes if they kept opening their eyes. The two of them wanted to make more glass. Part of it would be used to make diving mirrors, and the other part would be used to make reading glasses. Diving mirrors were for divers, and reading glasses were naturally for the grandparents in the nursing home. The two of them found that many of the elderly had presbyopia. When the time came, they would try to grind out some different mirrors, and see which one was suitable for them. After all, they didn't have eyes yet. The elderly might have gotten used to it, but Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan weren't used to it. Especially for people who had good eyesight when they were young, they would become more and more presbyopic when they were old. If they had farsightedness when they were young, they would become even more presbyopic. On the contrary, people who were slightly myopic would become normal due to muscle relaxation when they were old. Both of their parents had good eyesight, so what if they couldn't see clearly when they were old? They could also make myopic glasses. The two of them believed in the skills of the craftsmen here. They could do those operations on the glass, but they didn't know how to adjust the degree. This wasn't important, and they could do more. When the time came, they could try it one by one. Glass wasn't worth much anyway. Of course, only the two of them knew about the things that weren't worth much. They wouldn't tell others. In the future, the people in the inner courtyard would also have to keep this a secret. Otherwise, this thing would easily make many people go crazy. It was clear just thinking about the transparent glass cup. There were also transparent glass cups, but the price wasn't something that ordinary people could afford. Another advantage of glass was that it could be blown into a variety of shapes. For this, they could find some craftsmen who could make clay figurines and sugar figurines to teach them. The two of them didn't have the ability, but these artists definitely wouldn't have a problem. When the time came, they could blow animals and sell them. Many people would be willing to buy them. They could also add in some special colors and make it into a symbol. When the time came, they could give it to the people who were selling to them to distinguish them. This could further foster cohesion. The most important thing was that Wang Wan wanted to do some chemistry experiments, and it was very inconvenient to do so without glassware. As for the fact that there were many bubbles in the glass now, this was easy to solve. Other countries had already paid a lot of money to get the method, and that was one word: stirring. Once the bubbles were stirred, they would go out. They could also add in some lead or something. The two of them didn't know how to make glass, so they could make a large piece and then cut it. If it was thick enough, they could use it to make a coffee table. If they were willing, they could even use a large amount of glass to build a house. They believed that if they could build a glass house for Li Longji, he would be happy, and Zhang Zhong would be better treated. Li Sun originally came over to ask about the training, but when he saw Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan busily making things here, he naturally knew that the things that the two of them made were things that could make money. He was not in a hurry to ask about the training, so he stood there and stared at them. What is this for? After watching for a while, Li Sun didn't understand, so he asked curiously. It's for making good things. With this thing, we can replace those very expensive colored glass. Moreover, it depends on luck to make a transparent colored glass. There's no need for this, it's just a matter of time. You can look at it, but don't tell anyone. Otherwise, it won't be valuable. If you can't keep it a secret, I won't give you any new things in the future. Zhang Xiaobao noted down a ratio and said to Li Sun. He and Wang Wan were still experimenting with the stupidest and simplest way, which was to use different ratios. When the time came, they would see which one was better. Li Sun nodded. In fact, he didn't understand what these things were at all. They were all broken pieces, so how could he know what they originally looked like? Li Sun was very happy when he heard that Zhang Xiaobao was going to replace the colored glass. That telescope was too expensive. It would cost dozens of strings of coins or even hundreds of strings of coins to make one. The Ministry of Works and the Ministry of War had strictly controlled the method of making telescopes in order to prepare for the military. It was said that the higher-ups had given the order that if they encountered a losing battle, they had to destroy the telescope first. Those craftsmen who made it wouldn't be able to leave the place where they were restricted for a while. Sometimes, the presence or absence of this thing could determine the victory of a battle. Thinking of this, Li Sun walked over and picked up something that hadn't been mixed together. He twisted it, but still couldn't figure out what material it was. He looked at Zhang Xiaobao with a puzzled look. Is this the new colored glass formula? Then you have to keep it a secret. The colored glass you make will be transparent, right? That's about it. You can call it colored glass, but it's cheap. As for how cheap it is, I won't tell you. When it's done, I'll give you a big ball. Zhang Xiaobao said casually. After that, he immediately looked at Wang Wan. Wang Wan also looked at him at this time. Both of them thought of something, which was whether they could use a big glass ball to replace the iron ball. We need to see the relationship between thickness and pressure first. If it's feasible, we can make a tube on it and connect it to the big ball. Then we can breathe directly without completely sealing it. Wang Wan finished another ratio and said to Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao nodded, then shook his head. This technique is quite difficult, isn't it? Let someone try it. The main thing is that it's not easy to blow a big ball. How many people do it? Don't worry, let's take one step at a time. Maybe we don't have a way, but those craftsmen might be able to think of a good way. Li Sun didn't know what the two of them were talking about. Seeing Wang Wan stop, he quickly asked. Old man Chang said that the two of you are different from ordinary people, especially in battle. You can directly. What's that called again? Anyway, you're not afraid. What's the reason? I want to learn it too. You mean this? Aya, this is difficult. If you don't want to be afraid, the simplest way is to directly face one battle after another, from weak to strong. If you want to grow quickly, you have to face life-threatening dangers at any time. This method won't work for you. If you really want to learn, then I'll think of a way for you. Chapter 5:11. It was impossible for Zhang Xiaobao to let Li Sun kill people. In that case, he would be finished before Li Sun was killed. However, he thought of another good way, which was to use some things in the 100,000 mountains. When the weather was warmer, he was ready to do that. In fact, it was very simple. It was to cultivate Li Sun's courage, such as drifting and so on. As long as the skill was good enough, he could guarantee Li Sun's safety. First, he would train Li Sun from these things. Then he would catch some wild beasts and let Li Sun kill them personally. As long as he killed more, it would be fine. In fact, if someone was sentenced to death, it would be better to let Li Sun be the chief surgeon. This was simply impossible. Li Sun's identity was there. Another way was to let Li Sun go to the graveyard and scare him at night. Zhang Xiaobao believed that Li Sun's nerves were strong enough. Under normal circumstances, he would not be scared out of his wits. Bit by bit, after experiencing more things, he would slowly cultivate a kind of temperament. Now Li Sun needed to exercise his body. With a strong body, he could deal with all kinds of dangers. When Li Sun heard Zhang Xiaobao promise him to start using a special training method when summer came, He immediately went to exercise happily. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan began to let people burn the glass. This temperature was not easy to control, so they could only rely on the experience of the person who made the kiln. Therefore, for each batch of ingredients, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan made more, so that they could experiment under different temperatures. After letting people do it according to this method, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were finally free again. They did not need to worry about other things. Now, all he had to do was to wait for the good news from the people who were going to Hainan Island. At the same time, he also wanted to see what the people here would like to buy. If he liked her, he could give her more in the future. If he didn't like her, he would think of ways to make others like her. Xiaobao, do you want to kill 2 of those crocodiles, and then use their skin to make something to see the reaction of the market? Wang Wan asked Zhang Xiaobao as she washed her hands and wiped them with a towel. Let's not do the things that others do. Let's do something that others can't think of. Who knows what's new? Zhang Xiaobao also decided to kill a few. It would be best if he could get a few more swamps and catch some small crocodiles and send them over. In the absence of natural predators, the small crocodiles would slowly grow up. As for artificial breeding, Zhang Xiaobao, he did not have such thoughts. He heard that when other people tried to breed crocodiles, they failed many times with the help of those instruments. Artificial breeding should not be as simple as breeding poultry. However, they could be fed some meat appropriately, so that the small crocodiles would not be in danger when hunting. Zhang Xiaobao did not care whether the wild crocodiles existed or not. Lu Zhou could not include all the crocodiles in one place. As long as he could get the skin of the crocodiles, that would be enough. However, the wild nature of the crocodiles could not be eliminated easily by feeding them some food. When Zhang Xiaobao mentioned it, Wang Wan fell into deep thought. Currently, there were leather armors made of crocodile skin here. There were also some weapon handles made of crocodile skin wrapped with a layer of skin. There was also a decorative belt made of crocodile skin. Crocodiles were not only found here. Some lakes and rivers also had crocodiles. As long as people saw them, they would think of ways to kill them and then sell them for money. The main reason was that if people were not careful, they would be hurt. It was just like tigers. The people here did not have the idea of protecting wild animals. As long as they could eat people, they would try their best to kill them. It would be best if they could kill all of them and make them extinct. In that case, it was impossible for the 2 of them to ask for protection. Wang Wan was thinking hard about using crocodile skin to make something that was not available here. For example, a leather bag. This was now on sale, mainly to the rich people in the capital. It could be made, but it was a little too monotonous. Wang Wan believed that as long as people saw those beautiful leather bags made of other kinds of skin, they would think of using crocodile skin to make them. Businessmen were very smart. Sometimes they only needed a little hint to let them find business opportunities. In this way, they did not need to think about using crocodile skin to make leather bags. Gloves, boots? It seemed a little wasteful to use crocodile skin to make these 2 things. If someone was willing to do it, they would have done it long ago. There was no need to wait for her to think about it. After thinking about several ideas, Wang Wan was not satisfied. She said to Zhang Xiaobao, I can't think of anything. I don't know what to do. It is too difficult to show the value of crocodile skin, and also something that the people here can't think of. Zhang Xiaobao laughed and said, I know something. It is buttons. People don't use buttons now. There are no buttons on clothes. We can make some clothes with buttons. When the time comes, we can make some clothes with buttons. When the time comes, we can use wood, iron, and copper to make it, and then wrap a little crocodile skin on it. In this way, even if other people want to learn, they have to get some crocodile skin first. Decorative things are usually more expensive than practical things, and the cost is correspondingly less. Believe me, just do it. Then let's try it, but don't destroy the whole skin. First, make some scraps. A button doesn't need to be so big. Wang Wan also agreed. The 2 of them chose something that could be made, and began to let people kill the crocodiles. It was very difficult for one person to kill the crocodile. Usually, he would even be eaten by the crocodile. But when there were more people, the trouble was small. Some people were responsible for killing the crocodile. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan put their energy on making the glass. They failed continuously. The two of them had thought about this for a long time. They were not worried about not being able to make it. If others could do it, they could do it. The mercury and tinfoil were also ready. They were just waiting for the glass to be made. They would cut it into thin slices, put tinfoil on it, and cover it with a layer of mercury so that it could be used as a mirror. The two of them had already set the price. The cheapest palm-sized mirror cost 50 strings of coins. This was the price that they would often sell in the future. In the beginning, they would not sell it at all. Instead, they would give it to some people that they could not provoke now, such as Li Longji, those princes, ministers, and some very powerful families. It's done, it's done. Little young master, little miss, this glass thing is done. It's right here. Hurry up and bring it over. Just when Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were preparing to go to the dock to see if the ship had arrived, the person in charge of making the glass ran over here happily. He excitedly told Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. During the process of talking, he waved his hand. Two people behind him used wood and rope to carry the large piece of glass to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Little young master, little miss, this is it. It's so beautiful. It looks green. The person who came was still there. He still touched the large piece of glass with his hand. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan went over to take a look. What green? It was too thick. The whole glass was like a big stone. It was because of this reason that the glass looked green. It was because of the light. They touched the glass with their hand. It was indeed this thing. The two of them were also happy. Although it was not flat, for the two of them, it was just a matter of making the craftsman more effort. With such a large piece they could make more small mirrors, eyes, and other things. Good. Remember the formula. In the future, burn according to it. Also, the temperature in the kiln needs to be controlled well. Zhang Xiaobao acknowledged the effort of the people in the inner courtyard. He nodded and praised. Wang Wan also said at the side, "You must keep it a secret. Don't let others see it for a while. Also, don't talk about it. When the time comes, I will definitely give you more red packets." Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao had their own considerations. This place was really too remote. If too many people knew about it, the two of them did not doubt that some people would take risks for this thing. And they were the targets of that kind of people. The person who came nodded and promised. After Zhang Xiaobao ordered people to send this thing to the craftsman in the inner courtyard, the person who came back with the people who carried it. He wanted to burn more of it. Anyway, he knew the formula. Let's not go to the dock first. Go back and wait. The craftsman should be able to get a small piece soon. This glass is a good thing. In the future, it can be used to plant greenhouses. It can also be used to plant watermelons of various shapes. I am going to plant a square watermelon and see the market. If it is good, we will do this in the future. Zhang Xiaobao was not in a hurry to go to the dock. He pulled Wang Wan into the house to rest. When the piece of glass was sent over, the two of them would try to make a mirror. Just as Zhang Xiaobao said, the two of them did not wait too long. The craftsman brought the piece of glass over. If they did not know that the craftsman would not use the floating method to make flat glass, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan looked at the flat glass in front of them and wondered which craftsman knew how to make flat glass. How can it be so thin and flat? It is really hard to imagine. It seems that the craftsman is really amazing. Wang Wan gently touched the glass with her hand and said to herself. Zhang Xiaobao also heard Wang Wan's words and said, "It is very normal. With so many jade and other stones, they can make very fine carvings and make many shapes. It is not difficult to make a piece of glass. Come on, wipe the glass clean first. Otherwise, if you really get tin foil and mercury on it, the traces left on your hands will never be removed." "Okay, I will wipe it. When the time comes, make 2 pieces of the mirror and give them to our mother. I am not in a hurry to use my own mirror." Wang Wan also wanted to have a mirror now. No matter how clear a bronze mirror was, it could not be compared to a glass mirror. Just think about it, and you will know. When the time comes, she will take out a mirror from her delicate leather bag and look at herself in some personal gatherings. This will raise her identity. The two of them were busy and only finished the mirror at night. Some parts of the tinfoil were still wrinkled, but this was not a problem. They just needed to practice more in the future. Perhaps if they gave it to a craftsman to make, the craftsman would be able to make it better than the two of them. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan asked the craftsman to remove the wrinkles, leaving only a few mirrors the size of 2 palms. They also asked the craftsman to make a frame, which was actually a wooden box that could be opened and closed back and forth. The box was carved with patterns and was also very thin. When it was time for dinner, the two of them each held 3 mirrors. A large piece of glass could be cut into several small pieces. The two of them prepared to give a mirror to Xian, Lu and Wei Wei in addition to their mother. The last one would naturally be kept by Wang Wan. This was very meaningful to her. She decided to keep this mirror for as long as possible. The dishes were served. Today, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not immediately pick up food for everyone like before. Instead, they sat there motionless, looking back and forth between their family members without making a sound. Xiaobao, is there something difficult to do? Tell me, I'll help you think of a solution. Seeing her son and daughter-in-law like this, Jiang Wang clan thought that the two of them also encountered a problem, so she asked. However, in her heart, she did not expect that she and the others would be able to help. She just told her son and daughter-in-law not to worry about the family, and to do whatever they wanted. After all, they could even do things that defied the heavens, and they did not have this kind of expression, so it must be more difficult. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head and took out the mirror from his arms. He pushed the wooden box in front of his mother and said, "Mother, I made something for you. Take it as a gift." Wang Wan also did the same thing and pushed the mirror in front of her mother. This time, she did not say anything and only waited for her mother to open it. Wang Wan's mother was not as steady as Zhang Xiaobao's mother. When she heard Zhang Xiaobao say that it was a gift, she immediately opened the box. As soon as she opened it, she was shocked and said in a trembling voice, "Cuckoo, tell mother, how did mother get in the box? Quickly get mother out. Is this box used to lock people up?" When she said this, Jiang Wang clan also opened the box and looked inside. She was also shocked, and then showed a happy expression. She said to Zhang Xiaobao, "Xiaobao, is this a mirror? It can see more clearly than the bronze mirror. How did you get this thing? Could it be that you and Cuckoo went to the celestial court and stole it from there?" Jiang Wang clan was not bad and reacted quickly. She was not like Wang Wan's mother, who thought that she was locked in a box. When Wang Wan's mother heard that it was a mirror, she made a few movements. Sure enough, the person inside the box also made a few movements, just like the bronze mirror they usually used. However, the reflection of this mirror was too clear, so clear that it was as if a person had entered it. Thinking of Jiang Wang clan's words, she looked at Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao nervously and said, "Xiaobao, Cuckoo, mother knows that you are doing this for my good, but you can't take the risk. Quickly, send it back to the celestial court. Otherwise, if they find out that the mirror is missing, they will come after us. Mother is satisfied with just one look." Knowing that there is such a thing in this world better than others, I don't want it anymore, quickly send it back. Mother only wants you to grow up safely, nothing else. Mother, what celestial court thing? This is something that Xiaobao and I made ourselves. The celestial court doesn't have it now. If we really send it back and they find out, it will be really troublesome. This one is a little small, so it's just right to put it in the leather bag that was sent last time. When we make a bigger one in the future, we can put it in the room and stand in front of everyone, so that they can see it. When Wang Wan heard her mother's words, she was very moved. These words should make people laugh, but it made her eyes turn red. She hurriedly explained, and at the same time, said that the celestial court was something that her family thought so she just let them think so. Okay, as long as it's not something that belongs to the celestial court. Don't worry, mother won't take it out casually. If I want to take it out, I will do it in the room, so that the people in the sky won't see it. Avoid them. When Wang Wan's mother heard that she didn't need to send it back, she was even happier. She looked at the mirror like it was a treasure, and her face was full of smiles. Jiang Wang clan was also a little worried just now, so she pushed the mirror in front of Zhang Xiaobao. Now that she knew that this was made by her son and daughter-in-law, and had nothing to do with the celestial court, she took the mirror back and carefully looked at it. She picked up a strand of hair on her temples and nodded with satisfaction. Seeing that their mother was satisfied, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also felt relieved. They were really afraid that their mother would be worried. Xiaobao, is it troublesome to make this thing? When Zhang Zhong saw the mirror, he thought about making money. Now that he was used to new things appearing in the house from time to time, it seemed that every new thing could bring enough benefits to the family. This mirror should be the same. Looking at Xiaoer's happy face, the other girls couldn't help but like it. It's not troublesome, but you have to keep it a secret. The cost of this thing is very low, and it will be sold at a high price in the future. Father, I'll have to trouble you to write a few letters and send this mirror to someone. The kind that doesn't cost a single cent. You have to send it so that we can be safe here. Zhang Xiaobao explained to his father again, and at the same time, he told him his idea. Zhang Zhong nodded and said, I know. Our family often sends things to others. Those who take the things will always help us when we need it. Otherwise, how can we be so free and unfettered here? We have to send more to the emperor. After all, there are many women there. If one or two of them don't get it, they might do bad things behind our backs. Zhang Zhong was no longer the same Zhang Zhong who had cheated his wife in the beginning, nor was he the same person who had been the top scorer for the first time. Now he gradually understood and adapted to official matters. He could clearly distinguish what should be done and what should not be done. Father, don't worry. In a few days, there will be a lot of mirrors coming out. When the time comes, we'll send them together. Just wrap them in cotton. Be careful on the road, otherwise they will break very easily. Zhang Xiaobao was very happy with his father's change. Now that he was a provincial governor and had to endure more hardships, he wouldn't have to worry about being cheated when he entered the Ru imperial court in the future. This meal was different from before. The old man in the family was very happy, and the two people who received the mirrors were also very happy. As they ate, they carefully passed the mirrors back and forth. They each said the price of the mirrors, and in the end, it was lower than Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's. As a result, the meal took a lot longer, twice as long as usual. After the meal, the family didn't return to their rooms. Instead, they continued to look at the mirrors. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan left. The two of them had to send the mirrors to the other three people. When the two of them found the old man, Li Sun and the others were all there. The old man acted as the referee according to the rules of the game. The others were divided into 4 families and played a game of Monopoly. Elder sister Xianer, elder sister Lu Er and Wei Wei, this is for you. Wang Wan ran and distributed the mirrors in her hands. She also took out the one that belonged to her and fiddled with it. It wasn't that she hadn't seen a mirror before, but that there was a mirror in this place. The meaning behind it was not simple. When the 3 girls saw the wooden box in their hands, they felt that it was not bad. They curiously opened it to take a look. In an instant, they cried out in surprise like Wang Wan's mother and Zhang Xiaobao's mother. The person in the mirror also opened his mouth wide in shock. When he blinked his eyes, the person in the mirror also learned to blink very quickly. It seemed that as soon as he moved, the person in the mirror moved as well. I know this is a mirror. Wow. You can make a mirror like this? I'm rich now. In the future, if there's anything you can't eat or spend, let me sell it. Xianer was stunned for a moment, and finally reacted. With her talent in business, she immediately knew the value of a mirror. Not only could it be sold directly, but if it was done well, it could also be used to make money. It could also be used to exchange some benefits with others. What mirror? What mirror? Is it really that good? Let me see. Li Sun didn't care at first, but when he heard Xianer's words, he curiously leaned over. Xianer closed the mirror at once, and didn't let Li Sun see it no matter what. Li Sun had no choice but to find Wang Wan. He took the mirror from Wang Wan's hand and opened it. He also opened his eyes wide and said to Zhang Xiaobao, "Did you guys make this thing as well? I want as many as you have. First give me 100, no 500. I want to give it to someone, no 100. Just give it to the key people. If you give it to everyone else, it can't be sold at a high price. You don't expect them to buy it. Only 10, take it or leave it." When Wang Wan heard Li Sun say 100, She turned her head away. There was no discussion at all. Chapter 5:12. At dawn, the clouds were faint and the sun was shining brightly. The blue sea and silver sand were rolling in waves. The fishing boats were floating lightly, and the lighthouse was down. The seabirds were chirping in the distance, and the sounds on the shore were echoing in the distance. At the beginning of summer, the fleet of the Ning family in Qinzhou, as well as the ships of the people who had been tricked, finally docked at Luzhou's pier. Even the Ning family's ship was no exception. First, they were overtaken by the Zhang family's fleet. Their speed was so fast that they could only watch the waves. They were fast and steady, even when they were drawing the so-called zigzag in the sea. They were not the ones who could catch up. At first, they wanted to follow behind. After all, the sky was already on the horizon. It was said that the currents and winds had changed. The people on the fleet wanted to follow the Zhang family. It did not matter if it was embarrassing or not. As long as they could deliver the goods, it was a success. They only followed for a day. To be precise, it was an afternoon. At night, they lost track of the Zhang family's fleet. At dawn, there was only the blue sea and blue sky. The people of the Ning family complained. The people on the ships who followed them sighed. They were not capable enough to get the triangular sail and the propeller technology. Even if the ship looked simple, it could not be built. The internal structure was complicated. Only the Zhang family could use it openly. After all, they were the ones who provided the technology. There were reports of impeachment, but a few influential ministers in the imperial court directly refuted them with a reason that made people speechless. The things made by the Zhang family can only be improved if they use them. Who knows, they might be able to make better things. If they are not allowed to use it, how can they do it? The thing that made people lose their competitive spirit the most was that as long as the Zhang family's ship passed by, they could draw a sea map. It was said that they had a unique measuring method. The Zhang family kept a copy of the sea map, and the other copy was kept in the imperial palace. If one wanted to get the map from the imperial palace, they might be able to do it in their dreams. However, if they wanted to get the map from the Zhang family, they would have to work harder. It was easier to get the map from the imperial palace. As the distance between them increased, the moon came out to join in the fun. For some unknown reason, the changes in the tides were actually disrupted for a few days. All of a sudden, the Ning family's fleet veered off course. Unbeknownst to them, it was caused by an earthquake in the sea. Coupled with the solar wind and the lunar eclipse, there was a small problem with the sea they were sailing in. As a result, 4 of the 22 ships that came here hit the rocks. The people were rescued, but the goods were out of the question. 4 ships were abandoned there, and the remaining 10 ships finally found the right way after several days of sailing. This was because of Sea Nan. At least they knew which direction was north, south, east, and west. The 4 ships that hit the reef belonged to the Ning family, who asked them to invite others. When the position of the sea changed, they had to send ships to explore the way. This time, the Ning family sent a total of 6 ships. Only 2 ships were left. There was no point in docking at Lianzhou. They couldn't understand why the Zhang family's ship didn't hit the reef. This route was opened by the Zhang family. Nothing happened the first time they came here. Could it be that when they were in danger, the Zhang family's ship was fine? Of course, the Zhang family's ship was fine. It wasn't that they were lucky, but that the people of the Zhang family were good. There was an 80-year-old man on the ship. He followed his parents to sea to fish since he was 4 years old. As a result, he fell ill and became paralyzed at an old age. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't think too much about it. They just wanted to let some old people with poor family conditions go to the nursing home. The old man followed them and was well taken care of. The old man didn't have any other skills. He could see where there were fish and where there were submerged reefs with ease. If he was given a clairvoyant eye, he could accurately judge the situation under the sea. After the old man was properly arranged, he imparted his experience to others for free. This kind of wealth couldn't be measured by money. Therefore, the Zhang family gave the old man a ship with a propeller and a jib sail. The ship was called Golden Age. After the Zhang family's fleet learned this experience, they braved the wind and waves in the face of countless submerged reefs. They laughed proudly between the sky and the sea. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan sent the old man to the nursing home, they didn't expect to make use of the old man. In the end, they not only received their own spiritual reward, but also countless wealth. The old man also had his own diet and his own wheelchair. His family was also properly arranged. Even his grandson, who used to be a gangster, was also sent to the army. Every time the Zhang family's fleet set sail, the old man had to go with them. After all, there were still some things that the people on the ship hadn't learned, and that was the ability to hear. The old man could actually judge whether there were shoals of fish and submerged reefs by the sound of the sea at night when nothing could be seen. After Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan learned about this, they repeatedly exclaimed that the old man's ears were almost as good as sonar. The two felt that the old man's kind smile was the real pride. The two of them set up a separate academy for the old man, the Time Navigation Academy, to inspire the people in the future. They also engraved a couplet on the gate of the academy: Golden Age, Blue Waves, Time Passing, Blue Sky. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't do this just because of the old man. They respected the spirit of dedicating one's life to the sea. People would die eventually. The difference was what they left behind for the future generations. When they commemorated others, they also warned themselves. The Ning family didn't have such an old man on the ship, nor did they have such an old man in their own home. It was impossible for them to save an old man who couldn't even walk. Therefore, they had 4 ships that were loaded with goods. The value of the goods was enough to feed 100 old men for 60 years, just like the Zhang family. When humanity was more important than money, there would be more opportunities to earn money, just like Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. When money was more important than humanity, both were lost. Humans were better than other animals not because they knew how to use tools, but because they had hope and compassion in their hearts. They couldn't understand why nothing happened to the Zhang family's fleet, while they lost 4 large cargo ships. When the Ning family docked at Luzhou's pier with the other 16 ships, they were still notified that they had to pay 10 strings of coins per ship. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't care who owned the ships. They didn't want to give in at all. There were rules in business. As merchants, they had to follow the rules of business. If they changed their identities, it would be a different matter. If they revealed their identities as aristocratic families, it would mean that they were visitors. Then it wouldn't be strange to take out 1,000 strings of coins to receive them. If they said that they were here to do business, they would gladly hand over the money. The Ning family still wanted to sow discord. However, some of the people on the ships seemed to have been warned by their families. When they docked, they had already handed over the money. Then they took out a letter written by their families and gave it to Zhang Zhong. At the same time, they also gave him a gift. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were very satisfied with this approach. They clearly distinguished between private and business transactions, so they treated them differently. Therefore, the people sent by the aristocratic families enjoyed abalones, shark fins, conches, and other precious things. Each of them also received a precious mirror in a wooden box. The value of these things far exceeded the money spent on docking the ships and the gifts. When the Zhang family took them out, they didn't hesitate at all. Even Zhang Zhong personally came over to have a meal with these people. Not only did this approach not anger the aristocratic families who came with the ships, but it also made them value Zhang Zhong more. At the same time, they set a rule for Luzhou's docks. Anyone who docked a ship would have to pay, no matter who it was. Even the Zhang family's ships would have to pay. After all, they would pay separately. Of course, there were also special circumstances. For example, the flagship of the main family, the flagship of Li Sun's family, and the ships of some people with status in the imperial court couldn't be charged when they came here. They had to be flexible. Even if those officials might bring some goods, they had to pretend that they didn't see it. They couldn't bring 100 ships with them every time they came here, right? It was also impossible for them to spend nearly half a year just to come and go. The people of the Ning clan were still waiting to see a good show, but they didn't expect that their hopes would be dashed. This news was quickly sent to Qinzhou within a few days, together with the land route from Lianzhou. Before the Tang governor of Ning received the news, he was angry. The Zhang family's ships had arrived first, and so many goods were distributed to various provinces. Through the various trading channels of the merchants, the prices of these goods were much higher than expected. The Tang governor of Ning couldn't care about what happened to the other provinces, but it was the same in Qin province. Didn't he order those merchants not to contact Lu Zhou? How could there still be goods coming over? He had already sent out almost all the military forces in Qin province to patrol the land routes. It was impossible for goods to come over from those roads. It was impossible for them to come over from those roads either. All the ships that came over would be checked at the mouth of Qin River. And on the way up along the river, they would have to pass through 3 checkpoints. Every ship that came over would have to search every cabin, and even the bodies of the people who came over would not be spared. As a result, a large number of Zhang family's goods were shipped over from Qin province, and they were sold at a high price. How was this possible? Waiting for the news from Lu Zhou again, the Tang governor of Ning couldn't hold back the anger in his heart. He slammed the leather-wrapped table he bought from Lu Zhou and roared loudly. "What the hell are you doing? Is it so difficult to deal with Zhang Zhong? You always brag about how powerful you are, but look at you now. Not only are 4 ships gone, those people don't even hate the Zhang family. What's the use of keeping you?" After the steward delivered the news, he didn't dare to touch it. He knew how angry the old master would be with this news. At this time, when he saw the old master slamming the table, he didn't have the mood to tell the old master the price of the table. He could only stand there with his head lowered, waiting for the old master to calm down. The Tang governor of Ning had been the provincial governor here for 10 years, and he had never encountered such a sullen situation. Since Zhang Zhong came here, he seemed to have been restraining himself everywhere. A man who was not even 30 years old was actually pressuring the Ning family to the point that they couldn't breathe. When they had not won a single battle in the dark, he kept coming up with ideas and schemes. In the end, everything from Lu Zhou's side was out in the open. He just watched them do it, but he couldn't think of any way to deal with it. He sent memorials to the imperial court, but the imperial court didn't say anything. They even warned him that if he sent memorials again, there would be no news. This time, the fleet was obviously covered, but the Zhang family's ship arrived at the destination a month in advance, and they didn't notice any damage at all. As for those goods, almost all the troops were sent to search for them by land, but they couldn't find anything. Several checkpoints were also set up on the waterways, but they couldn't find any way to get the goods in. Could it be that those goods grew wings and flew here on their own? Even if they flew here, they had to land, right? It seems like we have to capture those merchants and interrogate them one by one. We can't lose in this business after losing in politics, don't you think so? The Tang governor of Ning thought of these things. The only way to solve this problem was to capture the merchants. Even if capturing the merchants would affect the business in Qin province, they couldn't lose without knowing why. The butler was listening at the side. He knew that this sentence was directed at him, so he quickly said, "Master, give the order. Capture all of them, including those who bought the goods. I don't believe that they can keep their mouths shut. Capture, capture, capture all of them. Don't let a single one of them go. Ask them clearly how the goods were transported here. If anything happens, I'll take responsibility." The Tang governor of Ning gritted his teeth and said, "Crazy, this is really crazy," the butler thought in his mind. Chapter 513. The crazy provincial governor Ning didn't care too much about the consequences now. He just wanted to catch those merchants and interrogate them. As soon as this order was issued and the news spread, before he could catch them, a merchant had come here and handed a map to him. When the merchant handed over the map, he no longer respected the Tang governor of Ning. Instead, he was grateful to the Chamber of Commerce on Lu Zhou's side, namely Zhang Zhong and Lord Zhang. When the goods were shipped back, they had agreed that if the Tang governor of Ning started to arrest people, they would immediately hand over the map to the Tang governor of Ning. That way, the merchants would not have to worry. At that time, the merchants in Qin province did not believe that the Tang governor of Ning would do anything to them. They thought that Lord Zhang was thinking too much. They were usually helping the Ning family in Qin province. Otherwise, how could the entire Qin province develop on its own? Who would believe that the Tang governor of Ning would dig his own grave? Reality gave them a hard slap in the face. As soon as the army was mobilized, they knew which merchant did not have informants. In order not to lose out, they sent the map. This was the transportation method. In fact, it was very simple. They would transport the goods by water, pull a net under the water, put the goods in the net, and drag them all the way here. Then they would secretly go ashore at a place that was not checked. This was the smuggling method used by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan in the beginning. At that time, many people were fooled. Later on, they gradually stopped using it. Now they could use it for the local people. Tang governor of Ning looked at the map in his hand, and then at the merchant. He chuckled and said, "So this is how it is transported. Don't worry, I just want to have a gathering with you. In the past, you have helped the Ning family a lot. Don't think too much, I have never thought of arresting you. Even if you don't say it, we know in our hearts that you won't arrest us. However, we always feel that it is not good to secretly transport the goods here. That's why we want to let you know the method as soon as possible to avoid causing more losses to you. My lord, we haven't been with you for many days. I wonder when you have time to meet up with us?" The merchant who sent the map had a relieved smile on his face. He asked the Tang governor of Ning in a flattering manner. "That's not urgent. I've been too busy recently. I'll find you in a few days." Tang governor of Ning knew the transportation method, so he did not intend to say anything more to the merchant. He just casually said that he wanted the merchant to leave. The merchant was sensible. He quickly said, "Then I'll go back first. My lord, you must take care of yourself. Qinzhou can't live without you." After the merchant said that, he turned around and left. After he left the mansion, his face darkened. He finally understood what kind of person Tang governor of Ning was. He did such a thing, but he was not afraid that the merchants of Qinzhou would be disappointed. It seemed that they could no longer do business with the Ning family in the future, let alone transport Luzhou's goods here. As for what to do, it would depend on how Lord Zhang of Luzhou would arrange it. At most, he would bring his family and money to Luzhou. There should be a business for them to do there. The merchant's mind had changed. Tang governor of Ning's mind had also changed. He did not think that he had done anything wrong. He put all the blame on the local merchants. He thought that it was the merchants who did not help his family to guard Qinzhou well, and secretly transported the goods here. This time, if he did not send the soldiers to arrest them, how could the merchants obediently deliver the goods here? Tang governor of Ning threw the paper in his hand away lightly, and ordered the people standing guard outside. "Men, send my order. Tell the people patrolling the Qinzhou River to check the things under the boats. If they find any goods, take them to the officials." At Luzhou's dock, the remaining 2 boats of the Ning family did not have many things left. There was only some food and a small amount of goods on them. The real boat carrying the goods had hit a reef on the way here. They were not in a hurry now. Their first task was to accompany the people from the families who came from Kaifeng. The young masters and women on the 16 boats were also not in a hurry to sell the goods. The main purpose of their visit this time was not to make a lot of money, but to see the situation here. After learning more about the situation, they would know what goods to transport next time to earn more money. This time, they just wanted to earn back the travel expenses. However, as soon as they disembarked from the ship, they fell in love with the sea cloud and branch. They ate one dish after another, wanting to taste all the dishes in Sea Cloud Inn. They also wanted to see the scenery here. It was not easy for them to come out for a stroll. They could not do business right away. Their families did not ask them to stay for a long time. The most important thing was to find more fun things to do. These young masters and women were all rich. They ate whatever was expensive and used whatever cost more. At this time, Li Sun was happy. He also found out the identity of the people who got off the boat. He thought that other people should be interested in his hobbies. So he quickly found some people who were good at talking and persuading those young masters to come to the mountain to play. For only 50 strings of coins per trip, they could see the charming scenery and stay in a wooden house. In addition, there were some recreational activities like fishing and boating, as well as all kinds of food and drinks. All these tickets only cost 100 strings of coins. In other words, They only had to fork out 150 strings of coins to take care of everything. They could stay there for 10 days. Counting from the time they entered the mountain, it only cost 15 strings of coins per day. For rich people, it was not a lot. As expected, those people were tricked. Oh, not tricked, they agreed to join the tour group. They did not care about the Ning family's strong invitation to visit Qinzhou. They directly got on the carriage and looked at the scenery on both sides of the road. They went up the mountain. The goods were left on the boat. They would wait for them to come back after they were satisfied. Li Sun was afraid that they would recognize him, so he did not show up this time. Seeing the group leave, he happily found Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He said to them, "It's open, it's open. 10 days is not enough time to play. If you want to see all the places, it will take at least a month. I have decided. After 10 days, I will tell them that they have to wait for 2 months before they can go to more interesting places. At least I can't let them see the waterfall with the rainbow. This way they will miss it. Even if they go back home, they will think about this place. On the last day, I will let them participate in a hunting activity for half a day. Maybe they can find more friends the next time they come here." Who said that we have to wait a long time to make money? Looking at Li Sun's excited expression, Zhang Xiaobao nodded. Not bad. Young Master Li can actually make such a big deal. Since we are going to lure them, why don't we first draw the activities on a piece of paper and let them see it? It would be best if we could draw it with color. Yes, that's what we will do. Draw it, we must draw it. We must also engrave it. Then use a color overprint to print it. When they leave in 10 days, we will give each of them more. Let them use this to advertise when they go back and boast to their friends. Li Sun's eyes lit up. He felt that Zhang Xiaobao's idea was good. He even added a few more things. This was the direction he was going to develop in. But thinking of the Zhang family's ability to make money, Li Sun felt that he could still explore more. He asked Zhang Xiaobao, "Is there any way to make more money?" "Yes, there is. This is not urgent. We will talk about it in a few months." Zhang Xiaobao had already had an idea, but this was not the right time to arrange it. Li Sun thought that Zhang Xiaobao would go back and ask the expert in his family. He nodded and left excitedly. He found someone to draw some pictures of the scenery that would appear in the future. This could not be done blindly. Otherwise, if he disappointed the expert, he would not come. After Li Sun left, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also began to get busy. Since the two of them asked someone to burn the glass, they had burned a large piece of glass. In fact, it was very wasteful to do so. They just dug a big hole and poured the water into it. When there was enough water, it would become a large piece of crystal. It was also made for fun, especially for some children. The two of them wanted to make enough things for them to play with. They were at the docks. Now that Luzhou's population had increased, it would be more prosperous in the future. With the addition of Hainan Island, they could cooperate to attract people to visit. The children of poor families could not be controlled at the moment, but it was not a problem for the children of rich families. If they wanted people to come, they could not directly tell them how much it would cost. Otherwise, when people came, they would feel that they were being cheated. The early stage was free. The way to make it free was not to tell people that it was free. Instead, it was to add a lottery item to the things sold. There was a certain probability that one could get it. Those who got it could come here for free once. At most, 5 people could come for free at a time. The children of poor families might not come and give the lottery item to the rich. Of course, the children of rich families could not come here alone. They would need people to protect and serve them. 5 people seemed to be too little. They could only have 4 people to assist them. If they wanted to send more people, one would have to buy the lottery for the children of poor families, and the other would have to spend their own money. In addition to this kind of free trip for children, there was also a kind of free trip for couples. For example, couples with 3 people or couples with 5 people. It did not matter if they were a man and a few women, or a woman and a few men. Anyway, it was a luxurious free trip for couples. Those rich young masters would think of ways to persuade the women they liked to come with them when they saw this situation. Even if they were rich, they could find a few women from the brothels to come with them. After all, they could make money. The travel expenses and accommodation were free. If they could not bear to spend money, they could eat good food. But if they wanted to eat better food and play better things, they had to pay for it themselves. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were making things that others found novel. The high slide was made of iron sheets. The craftsman here could perfectly connect the iron sheets used for the slide. There was also something like the torrent rush. It was like a small boat falling from a high place. A large amount of isinglass was used to cushion the fall. For safety, the two decided to increase the cost. They could not allow people to die. Anyway, there were no isinglass here. Even if they paid a high price, people would be willing to play. Then there was the maze. It was not only a maze above ground, but also an underground one. The top and bottom were connected. If one wanted to enter from the top, one had to go through the underground, and then go up to the surface to exit. If it were the two of them, the cost of such a maze would be very expensive. Few merchants could afford it. But here they were not afraid. The people would give them food and water, and pay them some wages. Soon the maze would be built. There were 3 of them. Now 2 of them were making a mirror. When the glass was cut, they had already done some processing. It was estimated that it was not so smooth. This was even more difficult than making it smooth. When the others made the glass, the 2 of them added a layer of tinfoil to the glass. They wore thick gloves and wrapped themselves tightly. Even their eyes were covered with diving goggles made of glass and isinglass. The tinfoil was fine, but the mercury was poisonous. The 2 of them did not want to be poisoned by mercury. After making a mirror, they put it aside and looked at it. Sure enough, it turned into various shapes. As they worked, Wang Wan had an idea. She said to Zhang Xiaobao, "Do you think that if we use this protection when making matches, we won't have to worry about others being poisoned? Don't stay in that kind of environment all day. You can work in the match factory for 2 hours a day, and then do other things. If other people come to change shifts, it will be more convenient to use fire sickles. Do you know how to make safety matches? Otherwise, the kind of matches made can easily cause a fire. Also, what do we use to hold it? Use paper boxes? Paper is not cheap now. Why do we need to make safety matches? They are specially made for the rich. When you use them, you just need to make a light stroke. When others see it, they will feel strange. Even if you give it to them to play with, they will fall down when they walk. There is no such thing as absolute safety. Paper is not difficult for us. We can make a lot of them soon. I have decided to make matches. There are 50 matches in a box. Including the box, it will be 20 copper coins. The cost is less than 1 copper coin. You don't have to worry about this. I will do it myself." Wang Wan had her own ideas. Zhang Xiaobao didn't need to cooperate with her. Zhang Xiaobao didn't believe that Wang Wan was making matches for the sake of making matches. He didn't know what she was planning. Since they had their own things to do, he would let her do it. The haha mirror was easy to make. Soon they made 20 mirrors. In addition to this, they also made some byproducts, which were kaleidoscopes. They were naturally used to seeing them and didn't care for them. However, others who hadn't seen them before would be attracted. They were also sold to the rich. Otherwise, if everyone used them, the price of mirrors and glass would be discounted. The 2 of them didn't want to selflessly take care of the entire Great Tang. Unlike salt, which was a necessity for daily necessities, the common people lived the same life with or without glass and mirrors. The next day, the 2 of them began to move. They found the people who had nothing to do and called them over. They began to build a large maze. They made wooden boards one by one, and then dug holes. The 2 of them designed a complicated maze blueprint. The people didn't know how to read the drawings, so they used lime to draw holes in the ground. They just had to follow the traces of lime and dig. The commoners didn't know what these tunnels were for, but since they had food and wages, they dug. Since they had nothing to do, weeding the fields would only take a little while every day. The rest of the time would be used for odd jobs. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also found a craftsman to make a large slide and a trough for Torrent Brave Advance. Torrent Brave Advance could only draw water from a river and set up a water wheel on top of it. Otherwise, if there was no water, how could it enter? The 3 big projects started at the same time. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan came over every day to watch. There were also 3 dogs. Wang said that she had seen others train them. However, when it came to her training, the results were not very good. The big dogs were smarter than the small dogs. Often before the small dogs could learn, the big dogs could follow orders and do things. This was also good. When the big dogs learned, the small dogs could learn from the big dogs. As for the glass mirrors and things made of glass, they gave some to Li Sun for him to give as a gift. They didn't put the rest up for sale. The 2 of them had to wait until they had more goods before they sold them all at the same time. While Lu Zhou's land was prosperous, the Tang governor of Ning of Qin province could no longer sit still. In the past, he didn't think much of it when other places were inferior to Qin province. He was willing to let Qin province develop according to the rules of the Ning family. However, Lu Zhou was different from other places now. It was far ahead of Qin province. The Tang governor of Ning could not stand this. If Lu Zhou was the only one developing, it would not be a big deal. After all, the Zhang family had the money to invest. However, the provinces around Lu Zhou such as Lian province, Shaanxi province, Sumaozhou, Xiang province, and the other provinces were developing as well. These provinces had all benefited from Lu Zhou. When the merchants bought things from Lu Zhou's Chamber of Commerce, they would sell them in their own provinces. At the same time, they would also collect things in their own provinces and sell them to Lu Zhou's Chamber of Commerce. In the beginning, it was not a big deal. However, as the surrounding provinces collected some extra money from the taxes, and the merchants spent money to build some key roads in order to travel faster, the gap between them and Lu Zhou became apparent. The other provinces had developed, but Qin province was worse than before because of its small population and restrictions on merchants. This made Ning Zhongzi unable to stand it. In fact, he wanted to develop as well. However, he needed the Ning family to take the lead. Since Lu Zhou was oppressed by Qin province in the past, he had no intention of giving the Ning family any chance. Since the Ning family no longer had a chance, Ning Zhongzi could not let the local merchants have a chance as well. Therefore, he wanted to learn from the Zhang family and ship precious goods from the capital to develop himself. However, the first time, the goods on 2 ships were robbed by Zhang Zhong's men. The second time, 4 ships ran into rocks. When they wanted to send ships from the capital, they no longer had the money to buy ships. They would have to transfer money from other places. Moreover, they would have to buy new goods. The Ning family had suffered a great loss. Moreover, even if they did so, they would be delayed for at least half a year. Half a year was not a short time. At that time, they did not know how Lu Zhou and the surrounding provinces had developed. It would be even more difficult for Qin province to catch up. Chapter 514. Recently, in addition to doing his own things, Zhang Zhong also had to take care of the delivery room. With a population of more than 40,000, there were babies almost every day. When it was about time for the birth, the local people would send the pregnant women here to wait for the delivery. Then, he could save money. After all, he did not have to pay for the confinement. Confinement was usually the most expensive time. The woman who was giving birth had to eat good food to breastfeed. There were also various other auxiliary things, such as diapers for the child to change and so on. When he was at home, there would be one more person to take care of his wife while she was in confinement. Now he did not have to care about those things. Lu Zhou was responsible for taking care of everything for free. Although it was only for a month, it was not like the first time he took care of a dozen women for a year. It was not bad. After this month, the woman who gave birth would be able to do things. Until now, there had not been any deaths, especially major bleeding. It had not happened at all. There was only one case of dystocia. Just when the doctor was about to perform the surgery, the woman forced herself to give birth to the child. It seemed that women who worked had a lot of advantages in this aspect. If it were a woman who lived like a princess at home, it was very likely that she would die because of dystocia because of lack of strength. The 100% success rate made Zhang Zhong feel relieved. When the time came, his wife and the Wang family would be able to do so according to his experience. Because Zhang Zhong's family had built a delivery room, the people supported him even more. It was really amazing. He had given birth to so many children, and none of them had died. The delivery room had become sacred in the hearts of the people. As long as there was a woman in the family who was going to give birth, no matter how far she was, she would be sent here. Even the rich families in the surrounding provinces, after learning about this situation, did not care about the distance and tried to find ways to send the woman in the family who was going to give birth to here. This had to be paid. Otherwise, the Zhang family would not be able to afford it. If the same thing happened in Huayuan County Hospital in the future, there would be more people from all over the place. It was not a big deal to spend some money on disinfection, but who could afford to pay for a month's worth of nutrition? Lu Zhou's place was special. The commoners did not have much money, and there were not many merchants here. Only a small portion of them had some money. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had a special discussion on this matter. In the end, they decided that the free ones would still be free, and the ones who received money would also have to be charged. It was impossible to say that the same treatment would be given to all pregnant women. The two of them thought of a way, and that was to treat pregnant women differently. The rich ones would stay in high-end wards, while the poor ones would stay in ordinary wards. It was just a matter of several people staying in one place. Also, food, clothes, and so on would be divided into different grades. This way, a portion of the money of the rich would be used on the poor, and the hospital would not have to pay for their own expenses. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not expect to make money from this matter. It was fine as long as they could keep their capital. The two of them felt that it would not be right for them to make money. It was not like there were no other ways to make money. Why should they make money at the expense of fragile lives? The two of them decided that it would be the same for other hospitals in the future. The rich would spend more money on the patients, and the poor could do it for free. As long as the number of rich people reached a certain level, the hospital would use some of the money earned on the poor, and some of the money would be used for research. It was a success if they did not lose money. At critical times, if they were short of money for research, there would be a deficit, and the two of them could balance it out with the profits from other businesses. When they earned more money in the future, the two of them decided that it would be the same for education. They did not need money. This was something that involved the entire nation. As for real estate, they did not care. The rich would live in good houses, and the poor would live in bad ones. The only help the two of them could provide in this regard was to build more toilets. Wherever the business developed, they would help the local people build more clean toilets. The two of them did not want to wait until they had a lot of money before donating money. While developing, they quietly did things. With the two of them's abilities, they really did not need to worry about money. Especially in this era, it was too easy to earn money. They could make money just by doing something casually. Zhang Zhong also knew his son and daughter-in-law's plan. He did not care about that. He was not the one who earned the money. As long as the family had enough to spend and could leave some for future generations, it was fine. After looking through the records of the 3 children delivered today, Zhang Zhong was more confident in his wife's ability to give birth. He instructed the person beside him. Go and ask around. See if there are any other families with twins. We need to take special care of them. The person serving Zhang Zhong did not need to ask much to know what all this was for. He agreed and ran out to arrange this matter. There were indeed 2 people with twins here. According to the normal timing, they would give birth 1 month before the Wang clan. It was a good opportunity to observe the situation. Dig another pit out of this place. It's here. You still need to make a turn at the side. After digging 10 feet in, you just need to make another turn. At the location of the future amusement park next to the dock, Wang Wan continued to adjust the details while watching others dig. She wanted to make this maze so that whoever entered would be confused. Not to mention that there were many forks, even some roads were made the same. After turning around and around, one would not know if there was a turn or not. The people digging the tunnels immediately did as Wang Wan said. Someone beside them could not help but come over to Wang Wan and ask, "Young lady, why are you digging so many tunnels? Are you making a cellar? The cellar does not need to turn back and forth. I look at these tunnels. If you really dig a cellar, it is very likely that you will not be able to find the things in the end. Well, it's good that you can't find them. Even if you can find them, you will have dug for nothing. Not only must the underground tunnels not be found, but also the roads made of wooden planks on the ground. Don't ask too much now. You will know when it is done, Wang Wan said mysteriously to the person who asked the question. Seeing that the young lady did not say anything, the person who asked the question could not do anything. He could only think about it himself. After a while he suddenly said, "Young lady, are you going to set up a formation here?" Yes, it's a formation. But it's not a formation to kill people. It's a formation for people to play with. Seeing that the person had guessed it, Wang Wan did not hide it. Oh, so it's a place for people to play. Then we have to dig it. When the time comes, we will let the young lady and the young master play. The person misunderstood again. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not explain much. Let others think what they want. When the time comes, everything will be clear. They continued to work for a few days. There was strength in numbers. In addition, the soil here was easy to dig. They dug out the things underground. In the end, when they dug it out, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were dumbfounded. Water entered. It might be too close to the seaside. Water kept seeping out. As a result, it was impossible to let people go down. What if they drowned? It's over. Why didn't we consider this at the beginning? Now it's great. We wasted so much of our wages. Xiaobao, what should we do? Wang Wan stared blankly at the water in the tunnel and began to regret. Zhang Xiaobao also rubbed his hands to think of a solution. He also did not consider this matter. It was a mistake, a mistake. The money was wasted. The people who were working also stopped and waited for the two people to make a decision. Hey, taste the water. Is it light or salty? Zhang Xiaobao squatted down and asked the people standing in the tunnel. Immediately, someone touched the water with his hand and looked up to reply, "It's light." Oh, it's good that it's light. If it's light, then we didn't dig it for nothing. Dig up the places beside it. Dig a big pool here and fill it with fresh water. In the future, we can build a beach here. After we finish swimming in the sea, we can swim here. The salt on our bodies will be gone. It just so happens that we can build an amusement park at the side. The two can be operated together. When we dig again, we can get someone to dig a deeper hole. When the water comes out, we can change the location. Zhang Xiaobao's eyes turned and thought of a solution. By doing so, they could continue to use the excavated area and not waste money. Wang Wan did not have a better idea, so she nodded in agreement. With this, they had one more place. Even if it was free to use, it was still a related facility. They could not charge for swimming in the sea, so it was still free. The place where they could earn money was where the swimmers needed to buy some food and drink when they came here. They could use this money to make up for it. When the people heard that this place was not dug for nothing, they worked hard again. At the same time, some people began to go to places further away from the sea to see if they could dig out water. They also wanted to see what this place would look like in the future. After working for 2 days, they finally finished digging here. They also found a place where the water did not come out. They continued to build the maze according to the map. On this day, some merchants came to Luzhou's pier. Nobody knew them. Even the merchants who joined the Chamber of Commerce here from various places had never seen these merchants who came later. The merchants first walked around the pier before heading directly to the Chamber of Commerce here. Based on the clothes they were wearing, they gave people the impression that they were very rich. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan saw them as well. The two of them suppressed the doubts in their hearts and asked the others to continue digging according to the drawn lines. They found a horse and followed these people from afar. They wanted to see what they were going to do. The people in front did not know that they were being followed. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were further away and used their clairvoyance to observe. These people were using horses to pull the goods. They stopped and walked along the way. From time to time, they would point at a certain place and say something. It seemed like they were having fun. What's going on? Could it be an inspection group from outside? Zhang Xiaobao asked in confusion as he rode on the horse. It's possible. They don't look like officials. All of them have the aura of wealth on them, Wang Wan said. What aura of wealth? It's obvious that it's from their clothes. Only the people in front who are surrounded by people look like they're doing business. The others are probably here to protect them. There's no hurry. No matter what they're doing, they'll have to go through our Chamber of Commerce in the end. The commoners won't sell things to them privately. When Zhang Xiaobao saw that those people were walking slowly, he stopped staring at them and shifted his gaze elsewhere. After a period of development, the changes here were not small. The roadside was wider, and the trees were growing fast. He believed that they would become big trees in another 2 years. There were also flowers and plants on both sides of the road. Bees were flying back and forth there. As those people walked, they began to speed up. The commoners who were working in the surroundings and the passing merchants were puzzled. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also picked up their pace and followed behind those people to see what they were going to do. Then they followed them to the entrance of the largest building of the Luzhou's Chamber of Commerce. The building was divided into various departments. Every Chamber of Commerce had its own department. When there was a problem, they would discuss it together and cooperate with each other. When these people arrived outside, they were stopped. Those who were not from the Chamber of Commerce were not allowed to enter directly. They had to wait in a small room at the side. In other words, they had to register and wait to be summoned. Otherwise, if any random person could enter and leave, the Chamber of Commerce would not be able to do anything. Perhaps, this was the first time these people encountered such a situation. They did not say anything and directly went to the room at the side to register. If they had their own cards, they could take them out and hand them in. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan entered the Chamber of Commerce. When the person in charge of registration came over with the materials, the two of them stopped him and asked for the registration materials. 5 Lakes Chamber of Commerce? What kind of organization is this? Why isn't it called the 4 Seas? 5 Lakes? Which 5 lakes are they? Dongting Lake, Poyang Lake, West Lake, Taihu Lake, and Qinghai Lake? What other lakes can be the 5 lakes? Zhang Xiaobao looked at the words and said in confusion. Wang Wan also looked at the words and said, "It should be a name. Can the 4 Seas be called the Yellow Sea, the Bohai Sea, the East Sea, and the South Sea? Did they say what they were here for?" Wang Wan asked the person who was holding the materials. The person replied, "Yes, they said that they have a deal to make a fortune. They want to discuss it with the person who can make the decision here. When the time comes, they will make a fortune in Luzhou together. They didn't mention anything else. I asked them, but they didn't say anything because they couldn't see my identity." Do a deal together? Good. Arrange for them to meet the directors of the Chamber of Commerce here and see what kind of deal they have. When Zhang Xiaobao heard that it was a business deal, he nodded and agreed to give them a chance. With Zhang Xiaobao's arrangement, even if the directors had matters to attend to, they had to put them aside and answer the people from the 5 Lakes Merchant Guild. Not all of them went in, only 3 of them. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were in the room as well. They hid behind the screen and eavesdropped. They wanted to see what kind of deal the people from the 5 Lakes Chamber of Commerce had. The director's surname was Zhang as well. He was sent by the Zhang family and was given the surname Zhang. He was usually good at his job. He was steady and flexible. When the 3 of them entered, they looked at the person who was sitting there. When the person stood up, they immediately said, "Are you Manager Zhang?" Director Zhang was taken aback. However, he nodded and said, "Yes, I'm the person in charge. The 3 of you have come from afar. Please take a seat." As he spoke, he gestured for the 3 of them to sit down. Then he had someone serve them tea and snacks. Director Zhang sat back down. He looked at the 3 of them and asked, "May I know what kind of deal the 5 Lakes Chamber of Commerce does? The name doesn't seem to have anything to do with the sea." "Oh, the 5 Lakes Merchant Guild? They do a lot of business. As long as there are people, there will be business. This humble one's surname is Hu, and his name is Chang. Back then, when my family gave me this name, it was just a random one. There's no special meaning behind it. Back then my family was poor, and having a name was already a good thing." The person sitting in the middle smiled and introduced himself. He only talked about himself, and the 2 people beside him didn't care. The 2 people didn't say anything, and it seemed that they were just here to accompany him. And Hu Chang was the one who had to discuss the matter. "So it's Boss Hu. To be able to meet such a noble person like Boss Hu, this Zhang is very happy. Don't be in a hurry to leave. Let's eat first." After Director Zhang heard the introduction, He immediately revealed a very happy expression. Before the matter was discussed, the problem of the meal was solved first. Well said, well said. It's just a meal. There's no hurry. The reason why I'm here is because I have a business deal to discuss with your Chamber of Commerce. If you do as we say, then both of us can earn a lot of money. Moreover, we can continue to earn for a long time. I have a plan here. Manager Zhang, why don't you take a look first? Hu Chang waved his hand indifferently. It seemed that he did not care about the meal. He took out a piece of paper and had the person beside him pass it to Director Zhang. Behind the screen, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan looked at each other. The two of them felt that it was a little funny. When did other chambers of commerce start using plans? This was something that they came up with first. It seemed that the Five Lakes Chamber of Commerce had come into contact with many things. They even had a plan. Director Zhang knew that the young master and young lady were hiding behind the screen. They must be very eager to know what was written in the plan. He opened the plan and read it word by word. Hu Chang and the other two did not stop him. They just sat there and drank their tea. From time to time, they would look at Director Zhang and smile. They were saying that the plan was right, and they were very confident. Director Zhang could understand the meaning of the words, but he could not understand it further. He could only try his best to read it. Before he finished reading it, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan already knew the general meaning. The people of the Five Lakes Chamber of Commerce wanted to plant some things here and rear some fish. They said that it was a new good thing that they found. Other places were not as good as Luzhou, so they wanted to cooperate with Luzhou. In fact, it was not a cooperation. It was just that the people of Luzhou could help them rear those things. When the time came, they would buy them with money. However, in order to let the people plant and rear those things well, the people had to fork out a portion of the money to buy the seeds and fry. 10 fry were worth 5 copper coins. When the time came, these fry would grow up and lay eggs. The Chamber of Commerce would collect the eggs according to their weight. In any case, after the people invested 5 copper coins, they would get 8 copper coins in less than a year. If they invested 50 copper coins, they would get 80 copper coins. Although this was not a loan shark, it was not a small amount. Especially when the plan said that these things did not need to be managed. As long as there was a place to plant and rear those things, there would be no natural disasters. Then they could make a lot of money. Moreover, if they bought more, it would be cheaper. When the fish were raised well, they would look at the quality of the fish and see if they could be sold at a higher price. Director Zhang had never encountered such a situation. He could not understand why the people of the Five Lakes Chamber of Commerce did not do it themselves since they had such good things. Instead, they wanted to let the local people benefit. At the bottom of the plan, it was written that they could cooperate with Luzhou's Chamber of Commerce. When the time came, whether it was the sale of the things they planted or the fish eggs, some of the money would be given to Luzhou's Chamber of Commerce. As for how much they would get, it would depend on how much money the Luzhou's Chamber of Commerce could invest in processing them. Director Zhang felt that this was an opportunity, but he could not make the decision. The Chamber of Commerce had just been established, and it had not been long. Many things had to be handed over to the young master and young lady in the end. The only thing he could do now was to understand the plan so that when the young master and young lady mentioned it, he would be able to explain it. Even if the two little ancestors were behind the screen now, he had to make sure that he would answer all of their questions. He did not understand, but Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did. They did not need to listen to what the fish eggs and the things they planted could be processed into, and how much they could be sold for. The two of them knew what these people were doing here. Wang Wan held back her laughter. Her lips moved as she said, "Xiaobao, this is so funny. I can't believe that someone would use such a despicable method to deceive you. I'm wondering what they are thinking now. Don't they know what happened between us in the past? Or are they not convinced and want to use the Zhang family as a stepping stone to get ahead?" Zhang Xiaobao, on the other hand, was depressed. How could he encounter such a situation? Of all the people to deceive, why did they have to come to his side? If he let them leave peacefully, he would not be able to justify being accused of being an international swindler. It was obvious that they were just looking for trouble for him. Well, since they came here, they should be prepared to bear the consequences. This kind of deception was relatively new. At least in this era, it was not bad. Under normal circumstances, it could deceive people. I'll agree in a while and see what kind of conditions they offer. I'll fight a little to make them less suspicious. The money is in my hands. I can't let this kind of swindler go so easily. Otherwise, I don't know how many people I'll scam. Why don't they do multi-level marketing? That's slightly more difficult than raising money. At least the algorithm is more difficult. Zhang Xiaobao relaxed. He did not find it difficult to deal with such a swindler. It was too easy. Wang Wan nodded. She had not seen such a thing for a long time. She wanted to see how Zhang Xiaobao would counter-deceive her. She was clear that he could see through her, but she did not understand how he could counter-deceive her. Could it be that he could beat her at her own game? It was also a comfortable thing to experience the highest level of deception again. Director Zhang finished reading the entire plan and did not dare to look at the screen. He put on a contemplative expression and said to Hu Chang and the other two, "We need to think about this matter. How about this? You all go to Hai Yunjian and rest for a while. When we are done with our research, we will immediately look for you to discuss it. However, this thing is still lacking some trust. That is, how can you guarantee that you won't leave after receiving the money? If you leave, where will we find you? The business is not small, and the money used will not be small. It will be difficult. Manager Zhang, do you think we are swindlers?" Hu Chang's expression turned ugly as he asked Director Zhang. "Naturally, that's not what I mean. It's just that this business must have a guarantee. You see, the Chamber of Commerce on our side has a guarantee. It has already been registered in the manor. When something happens, someone will hold us accountable. Since it's a cooperation, both sides have to be equal, right?" Director Zhang looked like he thought they were swindlers, but his mouth said tactful words. The three people did not seem to be prepared to reach a cooperation at once. Hu Chang nodded and said, "Manager Zhang is right. How about this? We will go to Hai Yunjian and wait. When you feel that it's feasible, we will let you know our guarantee. What do you think?" "That's even better. Then, the three of you will drink tea. We don't have to wait too long." Director Zhang politely picked up the tea bowl. The three of them also held it and gestured. Then they all said goodbye and left. As soon as the three of them left, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan came out from behind the screen. Director Zhang quickly handed over the things in his hand. Zhang Xiaobao waved his hand and said, "You don't need to show it to us. We know what's going on. Promise them, regardless of whether they have a guarantee or not, and regardless of whether their guarantee is reliable, promise them." "Ah, promise? What if they cheat people? If they take the money and run away, where can we find them?" Director Zhang advised in a low voice, but he did not understand. The young master and young lady had always been very cautious. They did things without leaving any loopholes. Why did they promise others so casually this time? It's best to talk a few more times. In the end, if you can't talk anymore, you can make a compromise. You don't have to worry about other things. Xiao Bao and I have our own ways to deal with it. We are not afraid of being cheated, but we are afraid that they won't cheat us. These days are too peaceful. There's nothing fun to do. Wang Wan did not want to explain too much. In fact, she did not know how to cheat others. But she knew that those people would not come up to cheat a little money and leave. They would cheat a little. In the beginning, they would definitely give the people some benefits. They would wait until they had earned enough money before running away. Chapter 5:15. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't care too much about the trick of raising money. The two of them continued to work on their amusement park, accumulating more experience first. When their respective mothers' children were born in the future, they could provide the most intelligent and safe amusement park for their 4 children. The two of them had already decided that in the future, no matter if it was a younger brother or a younger sister, the two of them would personally teach them. They were not at ease with others teaching them, so they wanted to instill some of their own ideas into their younger siblings. In addition to these places to play, the two of them also planned to make some intellectual toys, starting from the simplest to the most complex. They would slowly cultivate them, and during the process of playing, they would let their younger siblings learn things, instead of trying to tell them to remember things. In fact, the two of them also knew that it wasn't that those teachers' standards weren't good enough, but that the amount of effort they put in was different. How could teaching one student be the same as teaching 100 students? If he wanted to teach well, the best he could do was to choose a method that was most suitable for the majority of people. If every teacher only had one student, then no matter how bad the teacher was or how ordinary the student was, in the end, they would still learn better than many students who followed the majority. It was definitely not a problem for 2 people to teach 4 people, not to mention that they could find time to teach at any time. This was not just teaching questions, but also teaching some thoughts, especially philosophical thoughts. Make a merry-go-round here. It has to be shorter, and it just needs to be able to move. Why don't children know how to be muddle-headed? Adults usually feel dizzy sitting on such a wooden horse. Wang draws a position in a place and prepares to make a carousel. The driving force is the river next to it, so it is not difficult to move up and down. I don't know either. I only know that in the past, people would put it in the cradle when they were young. Is it like this? As you shake it, the child is actually already confused. It's just that they don't know how to say it and fall asleep in a daze. Zhang Xiaobao joked. In fact, this was very easy to understand. Some of the habits of a child had not been developed, so they could adapt to many things that adults could not adapt to. As for the cradle, if an adult were to be gently rocked, it would be very comfortable. What do you think? We can put a wooden horse here, and we can put some soft balls in the front for the children to play with. They are ocean balls. It would be even better if we could make them into trampolines. Wang began to make arrangements for her idea again. Zhang Xiaobao listened by the side and felt that it did not matter where this thing was placed, as long as it did not hurt the child. Adults would find many games boring, but for children, even if they were given a deck of cards, they could play for a whole day. Boys love to play with these, and Zhang Xiaobao remembered that he had played with them before. They would find stones of different colors outside, and divide them into 2 sides. In the end, they would fight. Usually one side would win, and sometimes the battle would be very fierce. After a busy day, they had made all the games that should be made. They just came up with an idea, circled the place, and asked someone to make it. The 2 of them prepared to come back to ask about the negotiation, and see if the other side would give in. But as soon as they arrived home, they saw that there were people busy in the hospital here. They went in and out, and did not let other people come close. All the doctors who went in were wrapped up tightly. What happened? Zhang Xiaobao stopped a doctor who was about to go in and asked. Smallpox, there's smallpox. There's a child with smallpox and he's burning up. We're trying to find a way to reduce his fever. It looks like it's enough. The other children who played with him are also looking for people to send them here. An anxious look appeared in the doctor's eyes, as if his child had smallpox. After saying this, he remembered the young master and young lady. He quickly said to the 2 of them, Young master, young lady, quickly go back to the mansion. You must not go there. If you get sick, it will be troublesome. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang nodded at the same time, and ran home without saying anything. The 2 of them were also afraid. There was no treatment for smallpox. The probability of death was very high. The 2 of them could not take the risk. The 2 of them stopped as soon as they entered the mansion. They looked at each other, and did not know what to do for a moment. It's over. This child is over. Even if he doesn't die, there will be ugly marks on his body. What should we do? Smallpox is something that can exterminate an entire family. Wang said anxiously. She knew how serious this disease that had affected many generations was, but she could not do anything. Zhang Xiaobao was also very nervous. He did not want to see a young life disappear in front of his eyes. It was too cruel. After thinking for a while, he said, I remember that 100 years ago, people were vaccinated with something. It seemed that they were vaccinated not long after they were born. Then they did not have to worry about anything. What was it called? It was like the vaccinations we had when we were young. Of course it was cowpox. Quickly find a cow with smallpox. I have seen this before. Sun Simiao wrote about it in a book. He mentioned this disease. The people here should also know about it. I remember that at the beginning, it was human smallpox. Let's get cowpox. Wang still remembered that she did not use the smallpox at that time. It's too late. The child has already had smallpox. It is useless to want to prevent it. Zhang Xiaobao was really anxious now. He had been thinking about that child in his heart. But at least it is useful for other children. There is no other way, so other children have to avoid it. Who knows if it is this child's accident, or it is the onset of smallpox. Hurry up, don't eat, look for cows. Wang pulled Zhang Xiaobao up onto the horse and rushed out. She ran as fast as she could. After running for a while, she remembered that it would be better for her and Zhang Xiaobao to mobilize more people to search for them. When she found the patrolling guards, she said to them, "Brother Zhang Xiaobao, I have a task for you. Quickly find those cows with smallpox. Don't delay. Even if the horses are tired to death, you have to find them. If you can't find them, don't come back." When the patrolmen heard the young lady in the manor say this, they knew that the matter was serious. Otherwise, the young master and the young lady would never talk like this. At that moment, they did not ask why, but spread out in all directions, urging the horses to go to various places to look for cows with pimples. When they met people who were working with them, they immediately urged them to look for cows, whether they were resting or doing other things. The young lady had given a strict order, so no one dared to deal with it casually. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang returned to the manor, and arranged for all the people in the manor to go out. Zhang Zhong knew about this matter and rushed over as fast as he could. He looked at his son and daughter-in-law and asked, "Xiaobao, what's wrong? Why do you have to look for cows with smallpox?" "Father, you are here. This is life-saving. Smallpox is coming." Zhang Xiaobao had never been so nervous. This was not his own matter, but the lives of many children. "Who has smallpox? Is it you or Cuckoo?" Zhang Zhong was also shocked. He reached out to touch his son's forehead and pulled his son's sleeve with the other hand. He was not afraid that he would be infected. "It's not me or Cuckoo. It's a child. He is in the hospital. We can only think of ways to lower his temperature and feed him something good to eat. There is no other way. Whether he can survive or not depends on his luck." Zhang Xiaobao felt distressed when he talked about this matter. The child was only 4 years old. He had not seen a better tomorrow, but he was on the verge of death. He could not do anything about this kind of illness. When Zhang Zhong heard that it was not his son and daughter-in-law, he was relieved. He said to his son, "You two don't go out these days. Stay at home." Speaking of this, he looked at his son and daughter-in-law and asked, "Xiaobao, Cuckoo, don't you two have any ideas?" Zhang Zhong had always regarded his son and daughter-in-law as gods. At this time, he naturally hoped that his son and daughter-in-law could do something against nature and save the child. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang shook their heads helplessly at the same time. How could they save smallpox? It would depend on whether the cells in the body could survive. Yes, smallpox. Even gods can't do anything about it. Zhang Zhong saw his son and daughter-in-law shaking their heads inside. "Father, there is no way to treat it, but there is a way to prevent it. Find cows with pimples, and use that thing to prevent others from getting smallpox. Remember, it has to be done once every few years. Let's do it once every 5 years. Then there will be no need to worry about smallpox." Zhang Xiaobao could not treat it, so he told them about the prevention. "Really? Just use that thing? How do you use it? Do you eat it?" Zhang Zhong also wanted to prevent others from getting smallpox. Hearing his son mention it, he immediately asked, "Not eat it, but use that thing to make a small hole in the body, and then put the thing on the hole. Just a little bit is enough. There might be deaths, but there definitely won't be too many deaths. Father, you should quickly give the order. When the time comes, if it succeeds, tell Grandpa Bai and let Grandpa Bai tell His Majesty." Zhang Xiaobao knew his father's current prestige among the people. It might be too difficult for others to let him get vaccinated, but if his father said so, those people would agree. In this way, as long as there was an effect, this method could be implemented throughout the country. Okay. I'll go and announce it now." Zhang Zhong trusted his son and daughter-in-law very much. After he finished speaking, he turned and left. At the same time he muttered, as expected of gods. Even if they can't save those who already have it, they can help those who don't have it escape. This ability is against the heavens. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also heard Zhang Zhong's words. The two of them did not want to explain now. And there was no way to explain. Could it be that the two of them came from the future? Then it would be better to be gods. The people were arranged to go out. Very fortunately, 2 cows with smallpox were found in the county. It was already night. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had not eaten yet. When the two of them saw the 2 cows that were led to them, they nodded and looked at each other. Then, they asked someone to go to the hospital to get the scalpel used for the surgery. After the scalpel was brought over, under the watchful eyes of their family members and the watchful eyes of others, the 2 men helped each other to make a small incision on their arms. Then they smeared some of the thing on the cow's body onto the incision. The 2 of them could not let others do this experiment. Since they were going to get vaccinated in the end, they might as well start directly. Anyway, this was the case. After the 2 of them had just gotten vaccinated, the other people protected them as if they were 2 seriously injured people, and sent them to another hospital. There were people guarding them 24 hours a day. The other people had not gotten vaccinated yet. They had to wait for the 2 of them to get vaccinated in a few days. After all, in the hearts of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, Zhang Xiaobao and Zhang Xiaobao were gods. If the gods could survive, ordinary people could continue to do it according to their method. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were actually very nervous. They did not know if they would have fever or other symptoms this time. If they did, they had to find a way to adjust. The 2 of them were not worried about their lives. After all, the cowpox was much stronger than the human pox. The probability of death was very low. They did not believe that with the luck to come from that era to this era, they could be killed by cowpox. The 2 of them lay side by side on the bed, looking at each other to see if the other one had a fever. At the same time, they were also feeling their own physical conditions. If they had a fever, they had to immediately move away from the other one. Perhaps they could make it in time. It was not a good idea to keep looking at each other like this. There were still people guarding them, so the 2 of them chatted with their lips. Xiaobao, if I die this time, you have to persevere and live on by yourself. Make our Tang Empire very strong. You have to leave behind a kind of spirit. Just treat it as helping me. Wang Wan said to Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao and Wei Wei nodded and said, same for me. If I am not here, you have to help me take care of our brothers and sisters. Don't let them be bullied. Give up on the swindler. Let them take it once, and then don't cooperate with them. That doesn't seem to work. If they only take it once, they won't be able to recoup their investment. Wang Wan also thought of the swindler at this time. It's actually very simple for those who can come back. No matter where they get the fish from, it's actually from this world. It's just that we can't find it here, so we can find it elsewhere. Then we can buy those fish eggs at a very cheap price and give them to them together. Even if they clearly don't want to, they have to accept the first batch. In other words, they will lose money. If I am not here, you just have to do this. Lie to them once, and then don't cooperate with them, unless they take out more deposits. I think they won't be able to take out so much deposits. This is the last time I do a good thing. Zhang Xiaobao was afraid that he really couldn't make it. After all, this was the first time he came into contact with this matter of vaccination. No one knew if there would be any danger. Therefore, Zhang Xiaobao now had to make arrangements for the future. As for how to develop other aspects in the future, Zhang Xiaobao believed that Wang Wan would be able to do well. It was not easy to lose money in such a big business. Wang Wan closed her eyes and then opened them again. She said, "Then what do you think we should do if both of us are gone? It's not like you, where there are many fund organizations and those who do things in the dark. The environment here is different. There's no other way. Since we are all dead, let's just forget about it. Do you think that if we die this time, will we continue to run to other places to be childhood sweethearts?" Zhang Xiaobao suddenly thought of this question. You and I are both good people, and good people can't just disappear like this. I hope that next time, we'll still be in China's history, and we'll continue to work together. Even if it's a dynasty that's about to perish, we won't be afraid. At that time, I'll allow you to use all your abilities, and let them see what it means to turn the tide. I believe you have the ability, and you're the best. At that time, we'll still be kids, and we'll grow up together and become gods together. Wang Wan said with a determined gaze. As she spoke, she suddenly smiled. Zhang Xiaobao also smiled. He believed that he had this ability. As long as he was given a little chance, he could do it. Even if the southern song was about to be destroyed, he could still change it through his own operations. Even if it was already destroyed, he could still change the dynasty again. In fact, he could do this now, but he did not want to do it. With money, there was nothing that could not be done. This was especially true when he brought the two families to Luzhou. The sky was high, and the emperor was far away. No one could control him. He could just drag them overseas. However, he was not willing to do so now. This was the beginning of a prosperous era. No matter what, he had to see it. Li Longji was not bad now. There was no need to get rid of him. Besides, if he really did get rid of him, the surrounding countries might take advantage of the current situation to invade. As the two of them talked, they fell asleep unknowingly. They still did not eat dinner. When they woke up the next morning, the two of them opened their eyes almost at the same time. They looked at each other and suddenly smiled again. When the person in charge of serving them saw that the two little ancestors had woken up, he immediately came over and asked, "Little young master, little miss, shouldn't you eat something? Otherwise you can't go hungry." Yes, let's wash up first. We'll eat soon. How about the child? How is he? Did he get worse? Zhang Xiaobao moved and found that he did not feel uncomfortable at all. It seemed that he would be fine on the first day. He looked at Wang Wan again. Wang Wan gave him an affirmative look, meaning that she was fine as well. "Little young master, I don't know yet. I'll go ask in a while." The person in charge of serving them immediately replied, and began to prepare food for the two of them. After Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan washed up, they sat there and began to eat. As they ate, they talked about how they felt. In fact, they did not feel anything. It was just that they kept paying attention to the place where the pimples were planted, so they kept feeling that something was wrong with their arms. This was a normal reaction. After a while, the maid who served them came back and said to the two of them, "Little young master, little miss, I heard from the doctor that the child is still getting pimples. However, he did not die. Moreover, he has been so hot. After cooling him down, his consciousness is still the same and he did not faint. Furthermore, there is also good news. The child's pimples are appearing bit by bit, not a large area all at once. For some reason, we don't know why. That's good. As long as he doesn't die immediately, there is hope. Let someone continue to cool him down. We must not let him be confused by the fever. Otherwise, he will easily die." When Zhang Xiaobao heard this news, he finally felt relieved. He instructed the maid who served them. The two of them quickly finished eating and lay back down. They still needed to take a nap, which was good for the growth of the body. 3 days passed like this. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were fine. This made the people in the family feel relieved. Zhang Zhong also sent out the notice of the pimples. No matter if it was adults or children, they all had to be vaccinated. The adults went first, and when the adults were really fine, the children would be vaccinated. At this time, all the children were not allowed to go out. If they felt uncomfortable, they had to be immediately sent to the nearest hospital. The commoners also knew that someone had contracted smallpox. Even if Zhang Zhong didn't say anything, they would still take care of their children. This was a life-threatening thing, so they couldn't get it. Even they themselves had to be careful. Even if they couldn't get it, what if they spread it to their children when they returned home? When they heard that there was a way to prevent smallpox, these people went to the designated place to be vaccinated. It looked very simple. They just had to remove something from the pimples of the cows, and then apply it to themselves. The only thing that was a little uncomfortable during the process was that they had to break the skin on their arms. As the cows with the pimples went around, Luzhou used 6 days to vaccinate all the people, including the children. The child who had smallpox stubbornly survived. Although there were many scars on his body, he was still alive. It was better than being dead. As long as he recuperated for a while, he could be discharged from the hospital. At that time, he would find some animal oil to apply to him. In fact, it was just using a thin grinding wheel. After that, they would apply some oil. After a long time, the scars of smallpox would gradually disappear. After all, the child's body was still growing. This was a last resort. It was the method that Wang Wan thought of for some people with scars. The younger the scars, the better the effect. The older the scars, the less effective it would be. Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao's only worry now was that some people had made a mistake during the vaccinations. If that happened, the two of them would not be able to do anything. After all, this was not a small matter. Not to mention the current medical conditions. Even in their time, there were cases of children dying during vaccinations. The two of them mainly did not know how to explain it to the adults. Everything would only be known after more than 10 days. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan put all their attention on this matter. For the time being, they did not have time to deal with the people from the Five Lakes Chamber of Commerce. They asked the director to treat them well. However, during the negotiations, they had to make sure that the negotiations were fruitless. After the smallpox incident was over, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan would be able to free up their hands to do other things. Zhang Wang clan was the most nervous, and so was Wang Wan's mother. The two of them were still pregnant. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan really did not know if it was okay for pregnant women to do this. In the end, they decided not to do it first. They would wait until the two of them gave birth. At this time, the two of them were as precious as pandas. Zhang Wang clan also mentioned that they should do this when the baby was born. She always felt that it was not good to make a wound on the baby's body at such a young age, even if the wound was very small. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan naturally told the truth. After some time, even the baby would have to do this. Otherwise, the probability of death would be higher. While the people on Lu Zhou's side were busy, Tang, governor of Ning, could not hold it in anymore. The plan had already started, but there was no response from the other side. The people sent here had not been able to send back any information until now, which made him feel a little uneasy. After preparing some wine and dishes, Tang, governor of Ning, called the steward over and wanted to ask the steward for ideas. The steward also knew that the old master had been a little uneasy recently. After he came, he sat there respectfully and looked at the old master, waiting for the old master's orders. Do you think something will happen over there? I heard that the experts of the Zhang family are very powerful. What if they see through our plan? What should we do? Tang, governor of Ning, poured himself a glass of wine and asked the steward. The steward could not eat much, so he also poured a glass of wine and said, "Don't worry, old master, don't worry. Master, don't worry. I don't think anything will happen over there. Those people are specially trained, and it's not their first time deceiving people. When the Zhang family left, would they have thought that they could deceive people as well? The proof they used was given by Qin province. Although this proof was deliberately made fake when it was given, as long as the people in our mansion see the proof and admit it verbally, they can't do anything. When the time comes and they get the money and leave, when Zhang Zhong comes to investigate, we can say that the proof is fake. We didn't give any guarantee at all. As long as they check, they will naturally understand. As for those people in our family who admit it, they don't have any evidence. They just admit it verbally. Do you think that Zhang Zhong will send someone to our family to write a receipt? And you're right. But I'm afraid that they won't fall for it. Don't think that it's not easy to find that kind of thing because we don't produce it here. There are many other places. I'm afraid that they will recognize it. Although Tang, governor of Ning, also had the same thoughts as the steward, he was still a little worried. He had to prepare in advance. After fighting with Zhang Zhong several times, he found that Zhang Zhong was not as easy to deal with as he thought. It was easy to get into trouble if he was not careful. The steward also knew what the old master was worried about. In fact, he was also worried. But when he thought about Zhang Zhong's previous Zhang family and the people here, he felt that it was impossible for them to know about the thing that was taken from a faraway place. His heart was a lot calmer. He said to Tang, governor of Ning, "Old master, you don't have to worry. The people over there will never know what this thing is. Even if they know, what can they do? We don't really want to do business there. We just want to make Luzhou suffer a loss once. As long as they suffer a loss this time, they will be very careful in the future. They won't dare to provoke you, old master. Otherwise you can impeach Zhang Zhong. When the steward said this, he thought of the time when Zhang Zhong came to question him with the proof. At that time he would definitely vent his anger. The steward did not believe that anyone could come up with such a plan at this time. Only the old ancestors of the Ning family could come up with such a plan. Those people were all old and cunning. Ordinary people would not have any effect on them at all. They had not done anything for a long time. This time they could make the Zhang family lose a lot of money. Most importantly, they would not only lose money. Tang, governor of Ning, was also aware of this matter. After hearing the steward's words, he said with a smile, "Yes, when the time comes, we can trick them. No matter what the Zhang family does in there, they will make the people hate them. After all, they need to vouch for this matter. Once they vouch for them, they can forget about making the people believe in Zhang Zhong. Good idea. This plan is really that good." Tang, governor of Ning, began to laugh as he spoke. He just wanted to find someone to calm his heart. Now that he had found someone, and through the steward's words, he also knew a lot of things. Naturally, he was not as worried as before. He personally poured the steward a glass of wine and said, "How long do you think it will take for them to escape after they are tricked? Will they have to leave after doing it twice? Otherwise, if those commoners grow well, we will lose money." "Master, you don't have to worry about this matter. This matter is actually very simple. That is, the last time we sell something is when we can't take out their last income. Moreover, at that time, we can say that we have given up a lot of profit to them. As long as we get in touch with the Zhang family's Chamber of Commerce, the people will think that the Zhang family is involved in this matter. At that time, do you think that Zhang Zhong will continue to be a good official? I think the people will eat him alive. I am really afraid that the people will rebel. After all, there are too many people in that place." The steward knew what the master was worried about, so he quickly explained it to the master. This was the time for him to use his analytical ability. The better he said, the better the reward he would get. He didn't have such an opportunity in the past. Tang, governor of Ning, really liked this. After hearing the steward's words, he nodded with a smile and said, "Yes, that's what I mean. Let's see what Zhang Zhong will do when the time comes. I don't believe that the expert in the Zhang family can even calculate this. When the time comes, their Chamber of Commerce will be finished." Tang, governor of Ning, was about to go crazy. Since Zhang Zhong came to this place, he had not had a good day. Compared to before, he felt very vexed. How could he swallow this? How much money the Ning family made was no longer important to him. What was important was how to bring down Zhang Zhong. In the past, he sent impeachment reports to the higher-ups, but it was useless. Instead, he received a warning. But now he did not use that method. Wasn't Zhang Zhong's family doing business? Then he would attack Zhang Zhong from the perspective of business and make him unable to make a comeback. When he remembered that Zhang Zhong's family was doing business, Tang, governor of Ning, was a little uncertain. He continued to ask, "Do you think that if Zhang Zhong took out money from his family and gave it to those people, would the people continue to believe him?" In fact, the steward had thought about this question just now, but he had other ideas. When he heard the master ask, he immediately said, "Master, in fact, even if Zhang Zhong took out his family's money, it would not be of much use. They have never lost before. Do you think people would care about them?" Tang, governor of Ning, did not understand what he meant. He looked at the steward in confusion. The steward immediately said, "Master, many people are afraid of the Zhang family, because they have never lost from the beginning until now. It was the same in Sanshui County and Huayuan County. When we first found out about Zhang Zhong, you must have forgotten that we were also very afraid. A person who has never failed is not an ordinary person. Their ability is enough to make people believe that they can obtain more benefits. This is also why the Zhang family can develop to such an extent. But this time, we are not only making them lose money, but also breaking their undefeated legend. In this way, other people will not be so afraid. Now you want the Ning family to unite with some people. And those people will dare to go against the Zhang family. But I am sure that as long as this matter is successful, the Zhang family will not only lose a little money, but also more things. The emperor is the same. The current emperor has seen the Zhang family's ability, so he has been helping the Zhang family. But as long as something happens to the Zhang family, the emperor will feel very disappointed. When the time comes, when the news is spread, you will write an impeachment report. I think it will not be like before. The emperor can't protect a person who has failed, right? Don't you think so, master? When the steward said those words, he pretended to be an expert. This was his habit. However, after a while he didn't hear anything. Only then did he realize that he was in front of the master. He was so scared that he quietly turned his head to look. He thought that his master would be angry, but Tang, governor of Ning, was very excited now. He nodded and laughed. At first he smiled and then laughed. The more he laughed, the louder his laughter became. In the end, the housekeeper felt uncomfortable, so he stopped and said, "That's right, that's right. Yes, that's what I mean. That's right, as long as Zhang Zhong fails this time, he can't expect to be protected by so many people like now. Smart, you're really smart. Later, go to the back to receive your reward." Tang, governor of Ning, was really happy. He did not expect that a simple business plan could involve so many things. This was really unexpected. This time, just this time, Zhang Zhong could not make a comeback. Did Zhang Zhong have a powerful family? Wasn't he just a person from a small village? How dare he be so arrogant in front of him? Thinking about this, Tang, governor of Ning, was very happy. He was now very eager to get the news from that side as soon as possible. The people he sent had not returned yet. He was not anxious about whether they would succeed or not. He was anxious to see Zhang Zhong's failure. The housekeeper hurriedly thanked him. This time he was finally relieved. Although he still did not know their situation, he could at least get the reward. As for the failure of that side, it had nothing to do with him. It was not that he thought wrongly, but the people he sent were too stupid. Yes, that was it. Even if they failed, it had nothing to do with him. Whoever went there to do the work would have to find a way to bear the responsibility. The housekeeper did not touch the food at all. He was thinking about the reward now. The master did not say how much the reward would be today. Under normal circumstances, he could go there and say it was 50 strings of coins at most. He had tried this before, and the master would not disagree. Or if he was bolder, he could say it was 60 strings of coins. He thought that since the master was so happy now, he would not say anything. Tang, governor of Ning, did not know that his housekeeper was thinking about this now. He was still immersed in his own happiness. After a while, he reacted and said to the housekeeper, "Don't our family still have 2 boats over there? Those people who came from other places, did our family not answer correctly? Why haven't they come over yet? Didn't I tell them to invite them here so that I can treat them well?" When the housekeeper heard the master's words, he regretted it. If he knew that the master would think of this matter, he would have taken the opportunity to leave just now and get the reward first. Now if he said something wrong, the master would easily take the reward back. This would not do, he had to think of a way. The housekeeper rolled his eyes and thought of something. After pouring the wine for Tang, governor of Ning, he said, "Master, this matter is different. The later you come, the better." "Oh, why do you say that? If you come later, won't Zhang Zhong win them over?" Tang, governor of Ning, asked in confusion. No. Master, think about it. If the boats over there are docks, they will collect money. If our family's boat is not there, Zhang Zhong may not accept the money of others, but our family's boat is there. Do you think Zhang Zhong will not accept the money? If he only accepts our family's money and does not accept the money of others, what do you think others will think of Zhang Zhong? The housekeeper finally led the master to this topic and asked. Tang, governor of Ning, thought for a while and said, "Other people will definitely look down on Zhang Zhong very much, especially our family's people who will say bad things about Zhang Zhong. But so what? Zhang Zhong can accept other people's money as well." Yes, master is right. Zhang Zhong can accept other people's money. That boat is worth 10 strings of coins. If they stop there for 10 strings of coins a day, what are those aristocratic children doing here? Of course, it's to make money. Even if they can't make a lot of money this time, they are still doing it for money so that they can show off in front of their elders. He drank a glass of wine respectfully and immediately said, "Master, this matter can't be delayed. I will go and arrange it now. If those young masters want to come earlier, we have to find a way to make them come later. Otherwise, it will be easy for something to happen." "Well, that's good. Then go and arrange it quickly. I will wait for the good news." Tang, governor of Ning, nodded with satisfaction. It was the first time he found that the housekeeper could be so capable. After the housekeeper left in a hurry, he began to eat and drink by himself. The more he thought about it, the happier he became. He drank and even danced and sang by himself. He did not care about his identity at all. The housekeeper left very quickly. He was not making arrangements. He had nothing to do even if he was late. He just wanted to get the money first so that he could be at ease. You're tuning into the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.